Hello everybody, and welcome back to another stream. It's been a while. It has been a while since the last streamed. Holy shit. Yeah. Welcome back to the stream. It's essentially my proper debut / re-debut today. I don't really know how to go about this stream, really, like how it's gonna be going, but yeah. So, as you might have noticed, I got a new look. Yeah, most of it has basically been me struggling with certain programs, but yeah. Also, while we are starting here, I'm just gonna quickly go ahead and start updating my profile picture on some different sites, because it's basically just been a silhouette of what I wanted my profile picture to be. So give me a sec while I update Twitch and Twitter and Discord. All of that stuff is set up correctly. Let's see. Where do I? What cord? Discord. Why can I not edit my profile picture? Also, welcome to the stream, Ryoko. It's been a while. How long has it actually been since I last did a stream? I don't even remember. Let me quickly check my recorded stream things. That was the 9th this month. So it's been almost 3 weeks. Almost 20 days, actually. So, yeah. I guess 19 days is actually what it's been. Oh boy. But yeah, I've basically been working on some different things. Like, some of them are kind of small, I guess, but it's just been me procrastinating with some of that stuff. Weren't far off, yeah. Okay. Can I get... Okay, there we go. Now, I apparently need to turn off streamer mode on Discord in order to be allowed to change my profile picture. I don't know why that's the case, but that's apparently a thing I need to do. So save the changes there, switch over to streamer mode, enable that stuff again, and that's done. And I guess I should maybe also change the icon for the Discord that I have. There we go. I basically just had all of my icons on most of the things that I have. It's just essentially my face just going like this and looking down. Yeah, my new profile picture essentially on all the different platforms. Something changing your profile pic could expose your file system and that may be considered personal information. Yeah, I can see why that would basically be a problem, but yeah, I feel like most people wouldn't I guess stream their Discord necessarily, the actual Discord. Although I guess some could have just made it oh, here's the monitor, and then it just shows everything. Which isn't exactly the best idea to do, I think, because that could easily reveal certain things that you don't want revealed. Anyway, I should probably make sure that I get some of these things pulled up that I'm gonna be needing a little bit later. Reset this thing. Actually, I should not reset that thing. Damn it. Can I undo that thing? Nope. Damn it. I basically just reset something that I shouldn't have reset. Oh well, I guess I'll just set that up a little bit later. It's basically just a tier list where I had like the different tier things. I'd basically rename those different things. Now I need to rename them and add another maybe 1 or 2 extra like tiers. I don't know. It's something I'm going to be doing a bit later. Anyway, if you do a dual PC streaming system, depending on how you do it, displaying your desktop is basically the only way to do it. Didn't know that. But yeah, is it? Yeah. Edge might have noticed all is updated, the looks and everything. I also finally got around to actually setting up certain things, so I now have a proper sort of emotes, I guess you can call them, that aren't working for whatever reason. There we go. Oh, I guess if I select, oh yes, it doesn't want to do them, but and now I have like slight smile, or happy smile, a shocked expression, a bit angry, and a sad one. And then I also have something new. I got a hat. Because, yeah, I guess I can. It's something I'm gonna go over a bit later, but turns out I can do magic. It's a bit hard, but I guess I can, to an extent, call myself a apprentice mage wizard thing now. So yeah, I kind of made a hat out of cardboard. It's not exactly pretty, but it's the best I could do currently. But yeah, I can turn that on and off, so that's nice. Outfit wise, there hasn't really been any changes. I guess I do have another outfit that I can switch over to, which I only made because of a post that I saw on Twitter. You had to, yeah. But yeah, I have another outfit that I guess I can quickly change into. Just give me a sec while I change over to that. Okay. Swapped. Not quite getting naked on stream, but I also need to figure out how I just found out how to change the lighting in PC Face. Why the fuck is that not an easily doable thing? Why? Okay, how? Okay, that's there we go. Okay. A bit early for first date. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, new outfit. Basically just t-shirt, and also because someone suggested it. I basically saw someone write about it on Twitter some time ago. I'm forgetting who it was exactly. Let me just quickly pull up that tweet. Not necessarily gonna show it on stream, but let's see here. Bookmarks, and where was that tweet? It was from Yummy's World, JUMMYS World. Just want to quickly make sure that I get the pronoun correct. I'm not entirely sure, because I don't want to suddenly use the wrong pronoun. But I think it's she made a post like March 21st, basically where she wrote, to every male hashtag VTuber, add a slutty leg slit, you cowards. So yeah, I went ahead and tried to do something like that. I don't know if this actually 100% qualifies, like this little thing down here, but yeah, I added that to both sides. I have no idea if that actually qualifies to what you wanted, but it's the best that I could do. Because, yeah. Me no good with textures. Or just clothing. Yeah. Anyway, let me just quickly get back over to my usual outfit. And also, okay, good, that also puts me back in the normal position. Good. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, it was kind of simple to do, but I have no knowledge of, like, how to do a proper, as Jimmy called it, slutty little leg slit, because they them is apparently the default dodge everything answer you can use if no one told you. Yeah. It's just Jummy does, from what I can see at least, on their Twitter, seems to present female. I know that that's not like a good enough like reason to refer to them as she, but I'm pretty sure I've seen them refer to themselves as female before. I guess I can quickly just... That's gonna play audio, that's gonna play audio. Don't think they have any thing written about their pronouns anywhere, but yeah, it's basically just Jimmy's World. But yeah, they're the reason why I made the so-called slutty leg slit. Yeah, that's enough talking about that. So, plan for today, apart from that, is essentially just... Let me actually just quickly find... Where's the post thing that I made the other day? There it is. Okay, so the plan for today, for this stream, which is supposed to be a 12-hour stream, did have to delay it by like 15 minutes-ish, because for some reason, yeah, I'm just gonna be completely honest, my stomach was suddenly like, hey, you need to go to the bathroom. So I had to kind of do that like 3 minutes before I was supposed to start the stream, so that was kind of like, great. Great, buddy. You couldn't just have done that like earlier. But no. But yeah. The plan for today is 12-hour stream, which is going to start out with introduction, as the title of the stream says. Plus, I had written like Q&A on this thing, but I didn't get anything there, so I guess I'll just... Do I actually have any of those? I'm almost certain I had one of those things. That's somewhere else. I was almost certain that I had one of those, like... unanswered things somewhere. It's a classic if you had time for every time that happened to you, you'll be owning Hololive by now. Yeah, it's like the body just almost kind of knows that, oh, you're about to do something that is supposed to be happening now? Fuck you. Here's like a bodily function that you cannot control or delay. Like, great. It seems like I do not have really any of those one answer things specifically for VTubers saved. I was thinking, since I didn't really have any things for Q&A after all, that I would just go through one of those, because I don't have one of those after all. But yeah, we're basically just going to be doing some introduction of myself, because I have never done that before. That is kind of why I'm basically calling this like a debut. But it's technically also like a slight re-debut, since it's like, oh, new model, to an extent new assets. Some, I don't really know if I would actually call it that, like slightly updated overlays, I guess. And then, let's see, yeah, introduction, then new model. Then we're going to be doing a Final Fantasy XIV job tier list. Mainly only for like level 50 for all of the classes that start at level 50 or below. And then we're going to be starting on the Shadowbringers MSQ today, and are basically going to be focusing on that for the foreseeable future, and also the Endwalker stuff, because I basically want to get through all of that as much as possible. Although before we actually get started on the Shadowbringer stuff, I have a shit ton of things to do first. Because I have like the weekly things that I want to get done, and then I have some shit with the Abramelborn relic weapon that we need to deal with, because I found out something that's a bit annoying about that, and then I have something to do in Eureka, because I basically like was awake until like 2 in the morning dealing with that. Basically have that prepared. Have one of those one answer on your phone if you need it. Maybe, although I could quickly check if I have maybe liked one of those recently, because I feel like I saw one. Yep, I found the one by Nolia Tree. I had liked that one not too long ago, actually, so let's get that open. Jesus Christ, that is zoomed in a lot. Anyway, so let us go switch over to this. Also, I have gone ahead and gotten a new stinger, which is one made by, I just pull up their name because I'm forgetting it right now, but it is written down in the credits. And why is okay? That's not lagging after all. It was made by Spooky, I think their name is. I don't really know how it's supposed to be pronounced exactly, but I think that's what it is. But yeah, Spooky is a kind of liked, I believe, person in the VTuber community, because he basically makes a lot of free assets for like streams. So, for example, stingers, so much stuff. There's so much stuff. But yeah, if you basically check down the credits, there is a link to their Twitter, where in their bio there, or I guess their link technically, I guess they also have the link in their bio, but their Ko-fi, I believe it is, where they basically just have a ton of things. Like they have, as said, yep, music. They have a bunch of different music. A lot of it is free. All he requires is just credits on, like, in this stream about section. That is all he's requesting. Like, he just wants credits for it. He has panels. Yes, they have those. Overlays. Alert things. Game overlays. Yeah, stingers. As you saw, he has a lot of stingers. Shit ton of different like colors and everything. And he does also have like 2 stream effects, but those do cost money. But most of his stuff that costs money is like $2 to $15 that you just pay. And it's all, most of it is pretty well done. Actually, all of it is really well done. Yeah, I'd recommend checking them out if you want some really good sets. But yeah, I guess we can go over the thing you're seeing over to my left. Technically my right, but to the left of me, basically. Information. I basically have 4 slides. Essentially general information, my likes, dislikes, and I guess lore, if you even want to call it that, really. So, general information. Miss Amateur. I'm born on the 9th of February, 1995, to be specific. I am, as I was able to measure yesterday, 182 centimeters. That might not be 100% accurate, but it was the most accurate that I could basically measure on my own with a like long work ruler. I think it's ruler. I'm not entirely sure if that's like exact measured, but it's something like that. I'm 27 years old. I identify as male. That's also what I was born as. So, yeah. And you can use he, him pronouns or they, them. I don't really care which ones you use. I'm born and live in Denmark. Have been for all my life. And the languages that I can speak are English and Danish. English because I've learned that throughout like childhood, school, kind of required. Denmark's learned that. And Danish because, yeah, I live in Denmark. Technically, I can an extremely small amount of Spanish. Like, very small amount of Spanish. I basically like took Spanish classes for like 2 years in school at one point. But I don't really feel like I learned anything, like any Spanish. Like, I might understand a few things, but it's very limited. And I guess to an extent, I understand a little bit of German. But that's kind of the same thing. Like, I was required to learn German for like 2 years. I didn't understand any of it. Or to be more exact, I didn't have any interest in learning it. And I didn't understand it really, so yeah. And I guess technically I do also understand, to an extent, Swedish and Norwegian, but that is just kind of due to the fact that Danish is sort of similar. Like if I remember correctly, Danish, Swedish, and Norwegian kind of have the same common ancestor in terms of language, where it like originated from. So our languages are kind of similar, but at the same time, not really. And we kind of make fun of each other's languages because they kind of sometimes sound weird to each other. But yeah, they're to an extent similar, but at the same time not. Essentially, I feel like most Danes, Swedes, and Norwegians will basically say that they can, to an extent, understand the other languages as long as they're like spoken slowly. And as long as it's not a word that is like completely different to their own language's word for the thing. Because, yeah. Also, as you can see by the picture to the side, graphic design is my passion. I'm not good at like all the sort of like graphic design stuff. Like my design brain is just like, yeah, this looks good enough, I guess, which is why those like overlays you might see and stuff is just kind of bland, is because I am not creative when it comes to just this stuff, which is why I put that there. I'm not good at graphic design in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. Anyway, next up, likes. Yeah, I basically just put a bunch of things over on the left. I like pizza. That's probably some of my favorite food, I guess. Although I kind of like just about most stuff. I also really like salmon. And spice food. My favorite color, I would probably say, is blue. I'm a big fan of cold weather, because I'm kind of the mindset that cold weather is better than warm weather, because the colder it gets, the more clothes you can just put on. Like, there's no limit to how like warm, but there is, I guess, a limit to it. But it's easier to basically just put more clothes on, or just keep yourself warm in cold weather, than it is to basically cool yourself down in warm weather, because at a certain point you can't really take off any more clothes. And if it's like really, really warm, it's just like you can maybe be walking around in your underwear and it's still fucking warm. So yeah, in my opinion, I prefer cold weather. I'm also a fan of anime and manga, although I haven't really watched or read any of that for a while. Mainly due to the fact that I just don't get around to it. I'm really bad at that stuff, to be honest. So yeah. I'm also a fan of cartoons, which I actually am a bit more good at, like, watching, because currently I'm, for example, watching the or I'm almost caught up with the Owl House, which is a cartoon on Disney Channel, which I will highly recommend. It is a really good show. I would kind of compare it to maybe Gravity Falls, which is also a really, really good cartoon that I would highly recommend watching. And I gotta say, both of them kind of got hit by the same, or by, to an extent, the same problems that, like with Disney, where the shows were really popular, and just like, or at least like fan bases, like people really like the shows, but Disney just kind of went like, yeah, how about we just like cancel them after like 2 seasons? Which I'm kind of pissed at, because I feel like both shows could have like had way more like intriguing things, like way better like stories, if they had maybe just like a season more to just flesh out things better. I guess Gravity Falls did do a pretty good job at ending the story. Too bad season 2 still isn't on Danish Disney Plus. Yeah. But I have been finding ways to basically watch season 2. I think I'm missing the episode from last week, and I guess the episodes that's supposed to come out, I think, this weekend. Although I don't know if that episode has come out yet. I think they usually release on Saturdays. So I guess today or tonight or something when it's supposed to come out. Which I think I'm forgetting now actually. Is that the one of the last episodes? Because I think we're about to hit the last episodes, and then there's like season 3, which I believe is supposed to be a like Oh yeah, that is three episodes that are 44 minutes long. Actually, Xsearch didn't want Gravity Falls to be longer than it is. Oh yeah, it wasn't that. I think it was. I think what I was thinking of was that Gravity Falls had a bunch of problems. I think with some of the content that Alex Hirsch wanted to add to it, but Disney basically just went like, "You can't do that." But I guess some of it might also have been a bit too I don't know, adult in a way for what could be shown on Disney Channel. I mean, in the last 2-3 episodes or something of the series, he did put in some body horror sort of stuff that was like, yeah, this is kind of messed up for a cartoon show. Okay, yeah, from what I can see here, today is apparently the day where the last episode of season 2 is supposed to be released. Which I'm excited for, because holy shit, the Owl House in the last how many episodes was it? It's been the last, let's see, I think the last 3 episodes that I've watched, which is episode 17, 18, and 19, has basically just made me go okay, we're getting some information that is kind of oh shit. I think I even posted the a concerned meme the other a few weeks ago when I had watched the I think episode 19 or something. Star vs. fell in with the Disney over LGBT QIA plus stuff. Did it? I don't remember that, hearing about that, but I guess it did. But yeah, I feel like a lot of shows that Disney has, or that's been produced by Disney, basically the same for Owl House. Yeah, I've basically seen that. I'm forgetting what is the name of the person that made Owl House. I'm getting that now. That is Dana Terrace. She has been very public on Twitter about she does not like Disney. There's a bunch of things that they are doing, especially against the LGBTQIA plus stuff. I think there's been something about Disney basically supporting forgetting what it's called now, but something against I think it was called, maybe, I don't remember exactly what it was called, but I think it was something gay conversion, I think was therapy or something like that, which is just stop doing that sort of stuff. We're in 2020. Stop thinking that people can have a different sexual orientation or whatever, then just, oh, you can only be straight, because there are other options. Personally, I'm straight. I'm a 100% ally for the entire LGBTQIA plus community. I might not fully remember what all of those letters stand for, but I essentially more or less remember it. Most of it. I'm a little bit unsure about the IA part, but I think I pretty much have an idea about it, but that's not important right now. But yeah, essentially, fuck anyone who is against, or who thinks that, oh, that entire all of the LGBTQIA plus is oh, that's not real or something. Anyone who thinks that, fuck them. just fuck it. Anyway, that was a bit of a side tangent. There is two men kissing in a scene, and Marco is also a bit a drag queen, while often alluring to buy, maybe being bi. Oh yeah, remember that. I completely forgot all about that. It has also been a while since I feel like I watched Star Versus. I don't remember the part about two men kissing. I don't remember that scene, but I do remember the whole thing about like getting what was it? Marco's princess name wasn't it like Turdina, something like that? But yeah, I can see why Disney would maybe have been going a bit against that. And I guess also now with the Owl House with the Luz being like fully open, like I believe that Dana Terrace has basically been like, yeah, Luz is bi. I am almost 100% sure is what has been like stated. Does he actually say that on their wiki thing? I don't see that, but I'm pretty sure she has been revealed or been confirmed as bi, and I think another character in this show has also been confirmed as bi. And I know that there are like, I think one gay couple that I've seen that are parents to one of the like side characters, I guess. So yeah, that show definitely has a lot of like LGBTQ representation. But yeah, good show. Two men kissing in Star Versus is there for 3 to 5 seconds during Star Princess song. I've probably completely missed that. Like, that song is also pretty good. That's a pretty good song. But yeah. I feel like getting now. Yeah, Steven Universe is Cartoon Network, but I feel like that has also had like a few like problems. I don't think necessarily with Cartoon Network necessarily, but like in different countries where they had like a whole thing with, I guess, kind of spoilers for the show. Like one of the, it was like, I'm forgetting if that part was part of the end of season 1. It was like halfway through, but it's like been several years, so I feel like at this point it's probably not as much spoilers, but like I guess if you don't want spoilers for Steven Universe, in case, I'm gonna put on the hat. Once I remove the hat, spoilers for that is over. So I'm gonna put on the hat now, and that's gonna be spoilers for Steven Universe, so just in case anyone doesn't want to hear it. And I forgot again that there we go. Alright, so yeah, basically I remember a lot of stuff with Garnet and Sapphire and Ruby, where anytime that Sapphire and Ruby were basically like shown to be in love and stuff, I believe some countries just either straight up cut out some of their scenes where they were kissing and stuff, or just made it out that, oh, Ruby is a guy. Just by the fact that they're clearly lesbians. Or I guess technically lesbians, even though they are actually just like space rocks that are presented as, I guess, feminine. Although I guess rubies are to an extent presented as male, but it's an entire thing that it's confusing to try and explain, but yeah. Essentially, lesbian space rocks, I think, is what they're usually referred to as, like most of the crystal gems. But yeah. That's basically the spoilers, I guess. That Garnet is Ruby and Sapphire. I just don't want to spoil it in case anyone hasn't watched the show, but yeah. So, head off. Anyway. Rock bonking, basically. It's cute and wholesome, yep. Fusion dance can basically be considered a metaphor for doing the loot. Yeah. Kind of. And at the same time, not really. I guess it's a weird concept when you also start thinking about like some of the stuff that happens between Steven and certain other characters, especially in the movie, which is like, if that's what it referred to it, but like fusion dance is seen as, then there's some like really fucked up stuff in the movie. So I guess it's more of like a strong connection. You can just refer to it as in some ways. I guess it kind of depends on like the characters in that sense. But yeah. Yeah, the last thing on that like left side like list is that I'm also a fan of Dungeons and Dragons. I have seen and consumed a lot of content about that. Mostly just like information on how to like play the game and such. Haven't played it a whole lot, or at least not as much as I wanted, because I was supposed to have played it a bunch with my my old classmates, but we kept having problems actually, or rather I had kept having problems with getting them to actually play. So whenever we had like sort of planned things, it just didn't end up happening after all, because they suddenly had other things to do after all on those days, so we ended up having to cancel. And then when we finally did one session, it kind of ended up not going that well, because I had to be dungeon master and I didn't really know how to use the Roll20 software fully, so that kind of, we had one combat thing and that was very slow. Steven Universe is a good show, but it can have a bunch of dragged out moments. Oh yeah. If I remember correctly, like most of season 1 is just a slow and just somewhat boring slog. I feel like from, if I remember correctly, I think it's from like season 2 onwards, or at the very least from like the very important episode that I kind of slightly talked about, basically where the reveal that I talked about when I had the hat on was shown. In that episode, or in those 2 episodes, from there on, it basically gets a lot better. But it still has some episodes where it's just like, oh yeah, this is... It still has some episodes where it's just like, yeah, this is just like a, hey, I guess you can refer to it as like the beach episodes from anime. Only instead of it being a beach episode, it's, hey, let's just do something random that does progress the plot that we're more interested in actually learning about. But yeah. Yeah, essentially, Dungeons and Dragons, I'm a big fan of it. Just haven't played it a whole lot. But kind of wish I could. But yeah. Visual isn't, it's super boring. But your first impression of Steven is young, impulsive, and super impressionable. Yeah. I feel like early Steven in the show, in my opinion, is kind of a little annoying at times. But it does get a lot better throughout the show. Although, if I'm forgetting, I think it was like... We do learn that he has been really fucked up throughout his childhood in like the last, like... I guess you can call it season, but it is technically like... series after the movie, I guess. like the movie continuation series, we basically learn there that, oh, all the stuff that Steven experienced as a child has really fucked him up. Big time. Which, when you think about all of the stuff that he's experienced, oh yeah, that would fuck up a kid a lot, like mentally. Like, especially that episode basically just made, like, throughout the entire series of like the post movie series, it's like, okay, we're seeing that Steven has some problems, and then there's the episode where it like shows all of the, I believe it shows all of the like flashbacks to all of the messed up stuff, and it's just like, oh yeah, this makes a lot of sense now. Like, oh yeah, yep, this is not something a like what 10-year-old should be experiencing. I don't remember actually how old Steven is. Was it like 10, 12? Something like that? Yeah, like, I would say like, oh, that, yeah, that's some fucked up stuff he's experienced. Yeah, that's like, that was a very nice thing. I think he was 12 when the show started. Yeah, that sounds about right, because I guess in the like post movie series he's what, 16? Something like that. I'm forgetting. You just quickly look up Steven. I kind of want the specific Steven Universe fandoms page for Steven Universe, or Steven Universe something. 16 at the end. Okay, yeah. Okay, so according to the wiki page for him, he is 13 from the episode Gem Glow, which I believe is the first one, to until the episode Too Far. Then from the episode The Answer to Change Your Mind, he is 14. Then in the game Unleash the Light, he is apparently 15. And then in the Steven Universe, the movie, to the episode The Future, he's 16. Yeah. But yeah, like, I will say, Steven Universe, it has some parts that are like, kind of, maybe not the best, but overall I would say that the show is good watch. Although I will say that certain parts of the fandom has been like very toxic, like holy shit. I think there was like one artist that at some point got like, I think, death threats because they drew a character in like a, like, I think not, I think people thought that the character was drawn, I think, too thin. I don't remember exactly if that was the case, but it was something like a character wasn't drawn like exactly like they were portrayed in the show, and like it's this little bit different, and people started apparently sending death threats, which was like, that's fucked up. So yeah, but I guess every single fandom basically has like some fucked up people that are just like really, like, I guess, rotten eggs, bad apples, whatever you want to call them. Because I think you can basically look at every single fandom and there are people that are fucked up and do weird ass things, and or are just like extremely toxic. So boy, I've seen a few of those in fandoms that I've been in, or at least like followed on Tumblr back in the day. Some of them are weird. Most fandoms to be like that, yeah. Like, I've heard some, I wouldn't necessarily call them horror stories, but like just weird stories from like my Tumblr days where it was things about Homestuck and other things. There was also the Final Fantasy VII, I think, house. I'm not gonna go into that entire thing. If you want to know about that, you can look it up, but like, holy shit, that entire thing is just like, what the fuck? God. Why did I just remember the Final Fantasy 14 house? Or not 14, 7 house, like, fuck, that's... If you want to hear, like, read something extremely weird, look up the Final Fantasy VII house. I think you can just look that up and you would just start being like, what the fuck is wrong with some people? But yeah. Let's continue on with the slides, because man, we're getting into some side tangents here with certain things. But yeah, games. I'm listing some games here that I remember liking a lot. I might be forgetting some games because I had to add one of the games to this list like today because I had completely forgotten about that, because that was a game on the PlayStation which I have not touched in a long ass time. But yeah, some of the games that I like are Final Fantasy XIV, because that's a game that I really like and that I'm playing a lot on streams. I like Soulsborne games. I have played, I think, every every Dark Souls game at least on stream at least twice. One time at least with a normal playthrough. Actually, I think it's 3 times with each of them. Yeah, I think it's 3 times. I've done normal playthroughs, then I did the co-op run that I did with Enigma Solivar, and then I have done like spotted and just challenge runs in each game, where I think in Dark Souls 1 I did the Daughters of Ash, I think it was called, mod, and I've done the Cursed Dark Souls mod, or Dark Souls Remastered test, which was the whole like, hey, let's put Halo weapons in Dark Souls. Dark Souls 2, I did a what was that called again? That was a pacifist run, which was entertaining or fun to do, but my god, it was also a pain in the ass with some things. One of those fights were like 40 minutes because of like needing to poison them. Oh, that was a pain in the ass. Or just the NPCs that I need to use were like really, really bad at dealing damage. Then Dark Souls 3 had... what's the Cinders mod? That it was called. But yeah, I like the Soulsborne games. I like Borderlands 2. I, to an extent, also like Borderlands 1, and I guess the pre-sequel, although Borderlands 1 I find to an extent a bit boring, because it's... yeah, compared to Borderlands 2, it is just like an inferior version in my opinion. And Borderlands the pre-sequel, I have played, but my experience with it was not very good because my PC's graphics card at the time had some problems, I believe. So it would occasionally, just like after maybe 2 hours of playing, my monitors would just shut off, which didn't exactly improve my experience with it. I've added Minecraft and Terraria on the same line because to an extent they're kind of similar, but I like both games. I haven't played them as much as maybe I should be, but yeah, they're good games. There's Fallout 4, my favorite Fallout game, because in my opinion, Fallout 1 and 2 are probably good games. I own them. I cannot stand their like gameplay because I am not used to those types of games, so They're probably good games, just not my cup of tea. Fallout 3, I think, is an okay game. The shooting is kind of ass in some certain ways. But I think it has a more compelling story than Fallout 4. Fallout 4 has, in my opinion, a very not compelling or just annoying main story, because in case you don't know, the entire story is like, oh, you're either mother or father in a family, your spouse gets killed, your child gets stolen, you're frozen in a tube for some time. I don't remember how long it is. You're basically cryogenically frozen, woken back up, the killing and kidnapping happens, you're frozen again, you get out of the vault, and you now need to go and find your child. And I gotta say, in my opinion, that is a really bad concept for the character, because, hey, guess what? Not necessarily every single person that is playing the game might be interested in, like, hey, you need to go and find your kid. Most of us might not have kids while playing it, so we don't have like as big of a connection. Like the idea of like, oh, we need to find our kids. What if I don't want to? Whereas Fallout 3, better story there, because it's like, oh, you want to go and find your father. I have a feeling that there's a way higher chance that most people playing Fallout 3 at least can connect with the idea of like, oh, wanting to find one of your parents is probably something that most people can like connect with, instead of like, oh, I want to find my kid, which a lot of people might not necessarily have experience with having. And in my opinion, Fallout 4 or Fallout New Vegas, best story, because guess what? You're a mailman. You have no story. All you know is just that, oh, this asshole shot me in the head for this platinum chip. And then you basically just choose however the fuck you want to handle that. Which in my opinion makes Fallout New Vegas the best Fallout game. At least of the Bethesda era. Even though this was actually made by Obsidian, I believe it was, I think it's Obsidian. And Bethesda basically screwed them out of extra money because they missed the Metacritic score, I believe, by like 1 point that they were required to hit. So yeah, fuck Bethesda because of that. Because otherwise, Obsidian would have gotten a huge bonus. So yeah, kind of mad at that. I also have Okami on the list because I really like the game. I really like the art style, setting, everything. Stardew Valley is just a really good game. Stanley Parable, and I guess to an extent also Stanley Parable. I'm forgetting what it's called now. Super Deluxe Edition, something like that. It basically came out like, I think a week or two ago. If you want a game that is just like fucks with your head in terms of like how the game goes, I would highly recommend that game. It is weird as fuck. And also the Beginner's Guide. It's made by the same people that made the Stanley Parable, I believe. It is very different. It's only like 1.5, 2 hours long. But it definitely just like hits in a weird way, I would say. And finally, there's also the Ratchet & Clank series, because I fucking love those games. My first introduction to the games were 2 demo discs that I had for PlayStation 2, which had I believe like 2 levels from Ratchet & Clank 1 on one of the discs, and then on another disc there was like, I think 1 level from Ratchet & Clank 2, Going Commando. And I gotta say, I played the Going Commando level so fucking many times. And then I ended up finally getting the game for PlayStation 2, and then when I found out that, oh, it's actually available on the PlayStation 3 with like a bundle and HD, I fucking bought that immediately because, like, holy shit, yes. And I played like most of the games in the series, at least most of the mainline games, except the like weird, hey, here's a like 4-player co-op one, and here's a tower defense one. I haven't played those. Also, haven't played Deadlock, but yeah, I didn't really think that was actually like as beloved of a game as it is, but apparently it is kind of beloved by people. And I haven't played any of the like side games like Secret Ancient Clank or Size Matters. Like, I haven't played any of the not PlayStation 2, 3 games. And I haven't played the, I think it was like the latest one, the like Rift Apart. I haven't been able to play that because I don't have the right PlayStation for that. And I haven't played the remake of the first game, but from what I understand, it's kind of in a way. Really not as good as the original one. But yeah, those are all the things on the likes side. Dislikes. I fucking hate spiders. I guess I, to an extent, have sort of a phobia of spiders. Is probably the best way I can describe it, but it's not like a, oh, here's a like teeny tiny spider and I just freak out at that. That's not what happens. It's just, as soon as they get above a certain size, I'm just like, nope. Nope. And like, my fear of spiders extends to the point where it's like, if I'm holding like a book or my phone and a spider appears either in the book, like on, like printed on a page, or like in a video on my phone, it's like immediate just like fear reaction, just like throw the like book or phone away just immediately. Like, I cannot stand spiders. In some games I can, like Skyrim, spiders I'm more or less fine with. But the arachnomorphs, I believe they're called, in Witcher 3, like one of the DLCs adds them. That's just a like, oh boy. When I streamed Witcher 3 and I met those in a certain cave, I had to quit the game and install a mod to change how they looked because I could not fight them because I was freaking out so much. Like, I was fighting, like, I think one of them, and then suddenly a like giant one of them just came like jumping towards me from like the dark, and I just went like, nope, fuck this, I'm installing a mod because like I could not deal with that. So yeah, me and spiders, no good, no good. I'm also kind of afraid of heights. It has gotten a bit better, but, and it's also like only from like, I need to be like above a certain height before it starts being a problem. But like, I remember being like at the top of the Eiffel Tower at one point. My family, I was standing like as close to the center of the tower as possible. I was not going near the like edge where I could like look down from like there. That was just like a, nope. No, thank you. And I also have a fear of deep waters, which is mainly due to, it's more of a like, I do not like water where I cannot see the bottom. That legit freaks me out. Which is part of the reason why in games where it's like, oh, here's like water that you can swim in, but you cannot see through the water clearly enough to actually see what's at the bottom, or if you can dive, you can't see the bottom. That freaks me the fuck out. That's just like, I do not trust the fucking game developers to not put like something that's gonna like pop out and attack me. I do not trust them with that. It freaks me out. Like, deep water, no thank you. No thank you. Uh, then there is really warm weather. It kind of ties back to the whole like me liking cold weather. I don't like warm weather because like yeah, I just start sweating like a motherfucker, and I hate being warm. Would prefer rather just being cold because then I can adjust my temperature. Or it's like, oh, it's warm. I'm trying to sleep. I can't really do anything. Like once I've taken off like pretty much all my clothes and I'm lying like without a like blanket or anything like that. It's just like it's torture. I think we had like a heat wave a year or two ago. Fuck, I hated it. It was so unbearable. Like it was like a week where it was just I could not sleep comfortably because it was just so fucking warm. And there was nothing you could do, or rather, there was nothing I could do about it. That was not fun. In any way. And yeah, finally, most competitive games. I'm not a competitive gamer, I guess you can say. So, most games like Apex Legends, League of Legends, Overwatch, Counter-Strike, I guess, basically just if it's a game where it's like you're playing against other people in a like competitive environment, I don't like that. Like those games a whole lot. There are some games that I can like play where it's not a problem for me, which is things like guess maybe the versus mode in Left 4 Dead. I'm fine with that. I think probably Dead by Daylight I could probably play without any problem. But like if it's a competitive, especially shooters, most of those I'm just like nah, pass, because I don't like competitive games that much. I'm not great at shooters, especially. And I know that if I get annoyed enough, I might just rage quit, because I did that once in a Overwatch game with one of my friends, with the Chun Maru. My god, did I get pissed. Yeah, I just know that competitive games and me do not go well together. Oh boy. Anyway, lore. It's kind of simple. Essentially, last year, I'm forgetting which month it was. I think it was like September that happened. But yeah, I was basically watching my parents' house and taking care of their dog. One morning I was out walking the dog. We go on like big walks during the morning, and I found a like weird old book. Couldn't really read the book, but or at least most of it, but there were some instructions for a ritual. So I just went in, was like, yeah, I'm not doing that in my parents' house. I can maybe do it like when I get home. So when I got home from like watching my parents' house, I tried doing the ritual, and turns out that was an infusion ritual with like demonic energies. So yeah, and let's just say that when I say that I could read the instructions for the ritual, I could read most of them. So I kind of fucked it up and kind of infused myself, because apparently you were supposed to have an object like in the ritual circle, which I didn't understand that you needed. So when I did the infusion ritual, I kind of just infused myself, which is why demon horns and such, blue streak, blue colored eyes. If I switch over to this scene, let me just might be able to see some sharp teeth. Yeah. I've basically been starting to like develop somewhat demonic, I don't know, characteristics, which is also the reason why I have now found out that I'm maybe a slight wizard mage thing, I guess you can call it, because it apparently also started giving me like some magical abilities, but I don't fully have control over them yet. So don't expect any like flames or shit like that on stream, because I cannot do that very well now, or yet. But yeah, I guess we can do that thingy, that question thing that I found earlier. Just quickly pull that up. Let's call that. Just gonna quickly add it to the stream so it can actually be viewed. And there it is. Okay, so just pull that there. Let's move it there, I think. There we go. Let's do it like that. So yeah, this thing is made by Tree on Twitter, and yeah, it's the thing that a lot of YouTubers has basically been posting. I think I posted it myself at one point as well, but yeah. Let's see. Favorite VTuber? I don't necessarily have any that I would say is my favorites, but I do like. Let's see. Some of the VTubers that I just like and think are really cool are Iron Mouse. I also say Snuffy. Juniper, I guess. Buddha. Callie. Those are the like 5 ones that I can remember at least off the top of my head right now. There might be more that I would maybe consider my favorites, but those at least I like a lot. Age, I've already gone over that. Favorite colors, same. Tag a friend. Does really make sense in this context, I guess. Am I say so or 18 plus? I would probably say 75% say so, 25% 18 plus, like on a scale of sorts, because I'm not like straight up horny on main, and 18 plus like some VTubers are, looking especially towards certain indie VTubers, and to an extent also some of the VShojo members. But yeah, I'm not like lewd on stream, but I'm not gonna shy away from like cursing, because yeah, I say fuck. Not gonna just say that I don't do that. Any secret talents? I can move my ears, I guess. And I guess I can do an extend code in HTML, CSS, JavaScript, some frameworks to like related to that. A little bit of coding, I guess. Twitch, YouTube, or other does really make sense here, because I think you're supposed to like post your links. Favorite anime, I would probably have to go with Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. I really love that anime. Favorite game? That is a difficult one, because I think I would maybe have to go with a Ratchet and Clank game. I just don't know which one it would be. I'm thinking probably Ratchet and Clank 2 Going Commando, because that is the one that I've probably played the most of the games, although I will say that I have beaten Ratchet and Clank, I think future is part of the title. A Rift Kraken Time. I have 100% of that game several times. But yeah, probably Going Commando would probably be the game that I would maybe say is my favorite. Can I sing? Fuck no. I am absolutely tone deaf and I have no singing ability. Do I watch Hololive or Nijisanji? Kind of both and neither, because I gotta be honest, I don't watch too many VTubers. Most of what I've actually watched in terms of like VTuber content, except for the like occasional streams that I catch on Twitch, is from like clips. Because yeah, I'm kind of also trying to stream and relax at the same time, and I just don't get around to actually watching too many VTubers. Hobbies, I guess, streaming and playing games. I don't really know what other hobbies else I could say is my hobby. Favorite movie? Don't really have one. I guess it would maybe be a Ghibli movie, because I gotta be honest, don't really watch too many movies. I'm not really a big movie person. Dogs or cats? I would probably have to say dogs, because that's what I've been living with. But I do also like cats. Any nicknames? Not from what I remember. At least not any that I've gotten. Like while streaming. I guess I did get a nickname at one point in school, where it was called like Frank for some reason. I don't know why. Some of the there were like 3 kids, like one of the classes that was like the same age as me, or same age as me, who thought I looked like a Frank, so they just started calling me that, and for some reason it kind of stuck for a few years, where I was just kind of referred to sometimes as Frank. I don't know why. What's my VTubing goal? I guess just to entertain and have a way for me to basically force myself to play some of the games that I have that I own but I haven't played. And maybe I guess it's a bit more of a selfish goal, but maybe get big enough in terms of streaming to the point where I could maybe make it my full-time job, but currently it doesn't. I'm very, very far from basically reaching that goal, but yeah, it would be nice if I could basically turn this into like a full-time thing, but currently can't really due to Danish laws, which kind of prevent me from going all on like earning money from it due to like weird ass laws with like being unemployed and stuff. Yeah. Gender identity, I identify as male, and I guess heterosexual. I don't actually remember. It doesn't have sexual orientation on this thing. Doesn't look like it. But yeah, as far as I know, at least I'm straight. I have no idea if I might be bi or pan. I don't remember exactly what the difference there is, but I don't know. Haven't met anyone yet that I would be like, oh yeah, I haven't at least met any guys currently that I've like that's I guess revealed to me that I'm bi, but yeah. Who knows? Maybe. What is my weirdest fear? Weirdest fear. think I kind of mentioned most of my fears, like in the dislike part, so maybe Deep Waters. I don't know. Maybe that one would be it. Don't really know what else it would be. Can't think of anything at least right now. Am I in a VTuber group? Not really. Can't really say that I am. Am I indie or corporate? Full on indie. Favorite food? I guess pizza, because I already mentioned that one. Did I have a debut stream? This is the one. Do I stream or make videos? I stream. I did used to, like, what is that? Like, back in 2020, I stopped making videos because I used, like, I guess, archive all my streams. Ended up deleting all those. And then way back in, that was like 2016, I think. 2016 to 2018, I think. I actually also made YouTube videos where it was just like Let's Plays, but yeah. Kind of deleted all of those and aren't really doing that. I have been thinking of maybe doing some videos to try and like get a maybe slightly bigger audience, but I haven't gotten around to doing that yet. What's my VTuber species? I am human, but I guess you can also refer to it as like human, but infused with. So I guess to an extent, I guess you can refer to it as like half human, half demon by infusion. That's probably what you could maybe call it. Do I have a mascot? Not yet. I do have an idea for one. Don't know how to make it though yet, so that might be a while before we get my mascot that I have a idea of. Do I VTube full time? I guess I do VTube full time now, since I only do VTube streams, but I don't stream full time, as I mentioned before, because yeah, I can't really make money from it. But I guess I just kind of do it as a hobby to an extent. Noble, PNG, Live 2D or 3D, 3D. At least for now. Can I dance? Technically, yes, but in reality, no. I don't think I at least dance very well. Who designed me? I did. Best tip for a new VTuber. That is a hard one, I feel like, to come up with on the spot. I guess maybe just, instead of just thinking about it, just do it. Just like, instead of spending like ages trying to come up with like the very best necessarily design or concept or anything, just maybe just don't try to make it perfect. Have chances to maybe like completely change up your like design later on. Like you can you can basically just change up stuff if you want to later. You don't need to stick specifically with your first choice. Because, I mean, look at Iron Mouse, for example. She started out using a, like, I think, public model that she found, but, like, I think it had purple hair or something like that, like, way back when she started. And then she got, like, after a while, actually came up with, like, some more ideas, which then evolved into her current like design pattern with like the models she's been getting for like the last few years. Snuffy like went completely from like Trash Panda to like what? I guess Trash Panda that is now like a Reaper or something. I don't fully understand that. I don't exactly remember like 100% what her concept is. Bebe, it's like what, a maid slash succubus thing, and now she's a dragon. Like you can change up your things like fucking Zentria. I'm forgetting. Is that how you actually pronounce her name again? I know that is a meme in the VTubing community in a way that you mispronounce her name. Zentria, yeah, it is Zentria. She went from fucking like dragon mommy to like, I guess, android mommy now. I guess that's what you could refer to her as. Like she just full on like went in a completely different direction with like how her model was. Yeah, you don't need to stick with what you choose first. You don't need to like make it perfect the first time. You can change it later. That's probably the best tip that I can give to new VTubers. Don't overthink it. Just start doing stuff. Just start streaming. Make a simple model. You can just like, if you don't have any skills either with like making a model, like if you can't make a 2D model or PNG, and you just need like a simple model, just use Vroid. It is free. You can make a pretty decent model. Like that's what I've used. Like just make a model. Doesn't need to be extremely advanced. It doesn't need to cost like what, $10,000 or something like that. Just make a model, start streaming, and then you can probably change things later. Anyway, number 31, favorite season. Probably winter, I would say. Probably winter, then second place I would probably put either fall or probably on the side, second place, fall and spring, because they're colder months, and then summer, last place because I don't like heat. So yeah. Pick one person you would haunt. You're supposed to do like tagging someone there, so that makes sense here. Do I have a charm point? I don't know what that means entirely. I don't really know what they mean by charm point, so let's skip that one. What languages do I speak? Danish and English. I already went over that. Technically, I can understand Swedish and Norwegian, and to an extent, I can understand a bit of Spanish and German, but it's limited. Top 3 things that I own. I guess my PC. What else? What else would be in that top 3? That is a good question. I guess one of the things could maybe be like my like, I'm thinking not like it has to be like physical things. So I guess the items that I got from the Seeker's Guide to Twisted Taverns Kickstarter. Got a bunch of things from that because I supported with like 700 Danish crowns or something like that. Yeah, I know it's stupid because I don't really play D&D as much as I may be doing in order to pay for that amount, but I like the stuff that was in there. I even got some dice, so that's nice. And the last thing. Can't really come up with anything for, like, the last, like, top 3 things, because, like, I don't own a whole lot of stuff. Like, I don't own a ton of things. So, like, I guess the third thing, my bed. I like my bed a lot. Yeah. When is my birthday? February 9th, 1995. When did I start VTubing? Oh, I don't remember the exact date. I can maybe find out in a little, very small amount of time. I just need to quickly look through some things here. While we look through some stuff here. Okay, so hey there. 12 hours, yep. Yep, that's a long ass time. But yeah, welcome DNA Ab, I guess. That's how I'm supposed to pronounce that. But yeah, welcome to the stream. Let me see. I'm currently trying to figure out. I think I found out when it was that I started streaming. I'm basically going through like some introduction stuff here for myself because I'm doing like a debut today. Yeah, I'm currently answering some questions on this thing. So, when did I start VTubing? That was on. When was that? That was October 4th, I think. It was apparently also a 12-hour stream. Yeah, it's been some time. What's my height? I went over that in this slide. I think 182 centimeters. VTube. What's VTubing? VTubing is basically streaming with like a virtual model, like the one I'm using here. Let's see here. Do I have a greeting? Not really. Do I have an Oshi mark? I don't really know what an Oshi mark is. What do I make content about? Just playing games. Kind of a variety streamer in that way. Describe myself in 3 words. I feel like these would maybe be a little bit easier to answer, like if I actually had like a longer time to find out what to describe myself as. What games? I'm gonna be playing some Final Fantasy here a little bit later. Ocean Mark is a fan mark. Okay, so like I think Galgura uses like a trident, isn't it? Like the, I guess, emojis that you can think it as. Is that what it is? So then, for example, a drop of blood is yours. Okay. Yeah, I don't have any of those. I haven't thought of any of those yet. Yeah. I don't really know how to describe myself in 3 words. I guess down to earth. Yeah, I guess that is actually like 3 words. Down to earth. I don't really know how to also describe myself. Do I have a Discord server? Yes, but it's basically just barren. There's not a whole lot of stuff happening there. I also welcome to the stream, MMO Boss Vesper. Got to say that really quick. Yeah. Yeah, I have a Discord server, but I don't really use it for a whole lot. It's kind of dead. There isn't really a whole lot of stuff happening. Hello, I've been trying to think of a non-cringe way of introducing yourself. You've been here a little. Alright. Yeah, welcome to the stream. Where do I see myself in a year? I don't know. Hopefully with an actual job. Like real life. Streaming, maybe. I've reached affiliate in maybe a year. I mean, it has been like 4 years since I started streaming-ish, and I haven't reached affiliate yet, but who knows? Maybe this year might be it. I don't know. I mean, I've seen a little bit of growth since starting to stream as a VTuber, but who knows? Do I have a sign-off? Not really. Don't really have like greetings or sign off things. I guess see ya is usually what I say as like a sign off thing. How often do I stream? Around like, I would say on average like maybe 4 times a week. I did stream at one point like 5 times a week, but cut that down a little bit because I didn't really have a whole lot of free time, because I would often stream like late and wake up late, so yeah, that wasn't exactly ideal. Do I have an art tag? Nope. Do I use to skip? Nope. Any pets? Currently nope. Did used to have I've had like 2 dogs in my life. One did have to like be put down back in 2018 because she had something with her liver. I think it was like a tumor, but it wasn't necessarily cancer. It was like something tumor-ish, and she basically like was gonna have to like just be put down because she could technically be like, maybe I've gone through like operations and such, but she was like, oh god, how old was she at that point? She was like 11 years old, and yeah, there was gonna have to be a bunch of things where she had to have like checked her blood to see if it could coagulate properly or something like that, which would have taken like potentially like several days, maybe a week or 2 for those tests to be done. So we decided to just, instead of just trying to like keep her alive just for our sake, we just decided, okay, probably better to just put her down, just so we don't just keep her alive for our sake, but just kind of just, I guess, I don't know how to describe it, just, yeah, make it so that she doesn't have to potentially suffer several years just because we want her to. And also, in theory, there was a chance that maybe she couldn't have an operation, or the operation would go bad or something, so we thought better to just like have her be put down in our home, because thankfully the what is that? I'm forgetting what the like I guess the veterinarian that basically had our dogs with, he was also a friend of the family, so he basically came home to our house, and she was put down like on her pillow, like on a blanket in the house, surrounded by all of us. We cried so fucking much. Like, holy shit, we were so fucking sad. And then we buried her out in the backyard. Basically lived in a the countryside, so we basically had like a lot of land that we could bury her in. She was buried, and then we planted a tree on top of it, under her grave. So yeah, it did help a lot that we did have another dog who was like what 2 years old at that time. She did help a lot with the grieving process. Yeah. Apart from those 2 dogs, we've also had some rabbits, but I'm forgetting exactly what happened with those, but like either they just escaped. I think they just kind of escaped or something. We didn't have as big of a like connection with those. This got sad really fast. Yeah. I mean, it happens a lot. It can really go like get sad when you start talking about like animals and such, but yeah. She was a good dog. Her name was Winke, which can basically just be translated to wrinkles, because yeah, when she was like a puppy, she had a lot of just like her face was just like a bunch of just wrinkles, I guess. But yeah, she was a good dog. She got to live for like what 11 years, so she had a pretty good life, I guess. But she did also have, like, at that point, she also had, like, problems with her hips and such, so she had to, like, get medicine and such, but yeah. Anyway, let's get away from the sad stuff and continue with the questions. Which question was my favorite? Probably the best tip for a newbie to one, because that actually made me probably talk the most about stuff. So yeah, I guess that was probably my favorite one. Anyway, time to get on with the proper part of the stream, which is Final Fantasy related to an extent. So let me just turn up the audio there a little bit, because it just produces more rain sounds. Because what we are gonna be doing is, before we actually start playing, is we are gonna be doing a tier list of sorts. So let me just figure out how to do this best way possible. So basically I have this tier list. It has all the jobs currently available in the game. And we are going to go through them and basically just rank them in terms of how I personally like each of the jobs at level 50. Because that is what I've played most of the jobs at so far. I'm not going to be going over Gunbreaker, Dancer, Reaper, or Sage, because I haven't really played those a whole lot. But over the last 2 weeks I've basically just been doing the main story roulette with every single other class. So yeah. Okay, but first of all I need to quickly set up this ads again, because I have already made this tier list on my own time. Just so I kind of knew what I wanted each of these things, or most of the placements to be. Let's see that, and it's okay. This one had a long name. Just like it, but don't like. And then I also had one last thing here that is, let's see here, that that row. Right. Right. Oh, I ended up turning that color. There we go. This one gray. Then that is supposed to say event. Well, that's haven't played. I haven't played much, I guess. Does everybody play Final Fantasy XIV? I don't really know. I think I would probably say that part of the reason why was that I think most people basically went over to Final Fantasy XIV like back in like around a year ago, actually, like summer last year, which I think was partially due to the fact that Endwalker was somewhat close to being released, which was the big expansion to the game. And on top of that, there was the whole controversy with Blizzard, with them basically starting. I think that was around when they started getting sued due to their, let's just call it bad behavior, and because of that, a lot of, or a decent amount of, WoW players went, okay, we're not gonna support WoW anymore. Let's try and find a different game. They went over to Final Fantasy XIV, partially also due to the fact that a lot of streamers that played WoW went over to Final Fantasy XIV as well. And the reason why I went over to Final Fantasy XIV was because one of my friends, who is called Chunchun Maru here on stream, or on Twitter, not Twitter, Twitch, he basically wrote to me one day like, hey, is there an MMO that you can recommend that isn't WoW? Because he just doesn't like playing WoW. And I basically just was like, I guess there's Final Fantasy XIV. I hadn't played it at that point. All I knew was that there was a free trial. That was all I knew. And I just suggested that. We ended up playing it a little bit, just like 3 or 4 of us for my friend group. And yeah, then I ended up being like, you know what, I want to stream it. So I deleted my level 50 character and started over again so I could actually read the story, because I hadn't really understood any of the story. But yeah, let's just say that the game has a really good story, but my god, is it slow to start up. Yeah. Anyway, okay, so let's start by quickly doing this, because where is that? There's the answer. And then that and that, because I haven't played these 4 classes that much. They're also ones that start at level 50. These 2 start at 60, and these 2 at 70. So I'm not gonna go over those. And then I'm thinking of just quickly these classes around a little bit, because I want to do them in a certain order that I just kind of think would maybe be a good order to do them in. That is kind of how they're sorted in the this, and switch over to the game. That is how they're listed in this list, more or less. That's basically just what I'm going with. So that means that one there. It's like that. Yep. Alright, so let me actually, can I minimize this a bit, I guess. Drop it a bit, because I don't want to be showing some gameplay at the same time, and I want to show partially why it is that I'm giving some of these placements that I'm giving them. Place this here so it doesn't cover too much. So, let's just start from the start of this list here with the Paladin. And I have put Paladin up in good. I like it. Also, I should probably mention that their position, like, out this way doesn't matter. I haven't gone into that much detail with this tier list. So if there's like a class that's here, it doesn't mean that I like Paladin more. It's just that they're kind of on the same level, I would say. But yeah, I guess I should probably also that. So Paladin, I think it's a good class. It's level 50. Skill set is pretty good. It's general pretty well balanced. It has most of its like abilities that it's, I don't know, like make up its main combo. It has two. It one two AoE combo. It has two of its abilities that you can fire off. It has its buff, stuff like that. 1 2 3 combo. It's overall pretty well rounded as a tank. I like it. It's not necessarily the class that I would say I like the most, but it's definitely up there. Then we have Warrior, which where did I put that one? I put that in OK. The reason why I put Warrior in OK is because I feel like it is a little bit boring, if I gotta be completely honest. I think it's partially also due to the fact that you don't really have a lot of options in terms of attacking, because most of your things are like on the global cooldown, so you don't have a lot of things that you can throw in like every now and again, like your big damaging attack, which is Fell Cleave, is a weapon skill, so it's on the global cooldown. And yeah, also your survivability. Actually, you don't even have Fell Cleave at this point. You only have what, Inner Beast, like at 50. But yeah, I feel like it's a okay class, but it's not my favorite at level 50 at least. Let's see. Next up, we have Dark Knight, which is at the same placement as Warrior, because I feel like it kind of has the same things, except it does have some abilities you can fire off, which is Flood of Darkness and Edge of Darkness, and I guess also Blood Weapon. But it doesn't really have any attacks like Warrior has, where it's like big damage that just hit with. So yeah, I feel like it has a little bit limited, at least a level 50 sort of tool set. But I guess it just does get some better things later on, like I guess Carbon Split, Missile Drain, things like that. Salted Earth. Like, it kind of just doesn't have like a lot of stuff you can really do. It's basically just you keep spamming your 1 through 3 combo, maybe fire off some of these, which basically just give you a buff. So yeah, it's not bad at least, but it's not really the thing that I would say is the best one. I feel like essentially that just Paladin, in terms of the 3 tanks that you get before level 50, is probably the one that I like the most, because it actually has like 4 things that you can use with like its 2 abilities, its like buff that it can fire off. I just think it's slightly better in a way. Let's see, next up is White Mage, which I actually like a lot. I think it was mainly just due to the fact that it's simple, but effective at level 50. Because most of the stuff that you're going to be using is just Cure 2, or like Stone ability, Arrow, and Holy, Regen, and I guess Medica 2. That's pretty much all you use in terms of like actual like spells. And then I guess you also have like Presence of Mind when you want to do a lot of damage really quickly. I guess you technically also have Cure and Medica, but you don't really use those. And then you have Benediction if shit suddenly hits the fan, or if you're suddenly queued up with a Gunbreaker who suddenly decides, hey, how about I just shoot myself in the head and reduce my HP to 1? And you give your healer a heart attack suddenly. So that's always fun. But yeah, I like using the White Mage at level 50 because it's simple. It's kind of always been simple. I think it's always going to be more or less simple, but there's no whole, like, it's not a complicated healer, which I kind of like. Let's see. Then we have Astrologian. Actually, wait, that's the wrong order. Scholar. Scholar's the first one before Astrologian, and that is, I don't dislike it, but, and that is pretty much just because of the fact that I do not like the fairy. I don't really like Scholar that much because I feel like it has way too many fucking abilities, and I don't like the entire concept of dealing with the fairy. That's like the main thing that just is an issue with me. Because most of Scholar's like normal skills, if you look away from like the fairy stuff, is actually simple enough. You have like your normal attack, dots, you have your shielding ability, shielding/healing ability, normal heal, AoE heal that also gives shields, your ground slap, your quick damage dealing ability, and I guess you also have like Aether Flow, Energy Drain, Lustrate, and Sacred Soil, which is like your Aether Flow stuff, which is simple enough. It's just damage, heal, protect. But the thing I don't really like that much about Scholar is, as I said, the fairy, because in order to use it like extremely effectively, you need to basically move that thing around, and I am not good at that, which is probably the main reason why I don't like playing Scholar that much, because in order to use Fey Illumination and Whispering Dawn effectively, you need to make sure you place your fairy in the right place, which I kind of forget to do. And both of these abilities only have like a 15 yard range, which is like, I guess it's an okay range, but like, I can quickly just check here, I guess. Attack that. Is it Enmity? It's basically like 50% larger than this, because this is like a the circle has like a 10 yard radius. It's like 5 yards larger than that, which I guess is a decent distance, but if it's a big enough arena, you can easily miss things like Whispering Dawn, which means, oh, some people are not going to get regen. Whereas if you position yourself correctly, that's not a problem most of the time. So yeah, I just don't really like the fairy. That's the main part of Scholar that I don't like. Which is why it's in that placement. And then we had Scholar, which is in this tier. Yep. I think Scholar's okay. Let's see. It's kind of basically has like its usual single target, dots, AoE. That thing should actually be there for some. Wasn't. Single target heal, regen, emergency heal, I guess. AoE, regen AoE. And apart from that, it has the whole like drawing mechanic, which is the thing that kind of like puts it down to like okay, because I'm still not fully used to using the cards like 100% of the time. I kind of forget about it from time to time, especially like which class you're supposed to put it on. Like I know that that is the casters. And that is the melee, I believe. Yeah, I think part of the reason why I'm a little bit like with scholars or with astrology is partially just the art mechanic that you need to like keep track of while healing and everything. And then there's also the whole like astral dying, which is like you get different symbols based on like what is shown there, like a small icon, which basically put up here, and then you have like a certain amount of signs, as they're called, like different types. You basically get a better and better buffs, or more of them. You use Astrodyne, and I don't really like the whole like randomness of it, because you can just end up not getting like 3 different signs and not really supposed to be trying to roll 4 specific ones. But yeah. Also, you can be kind of unlucky to get into a party where it's only for example, ranged DPS or only melee, and you might only get like the opposite of the cards, which is like, great, I need to like try and redraw all of them, which might turn into like, oh yeah, you don't get the right cards, which is a little bit annoying. Next up is melee, where it is monk first. I don't like monk, and the reason is pretty simple. I don't like their rotation. I cannot figure out their rotation. Just straight up, I can't figure it out. I understand the concept of their rotation, but I can't execute it very well. For those of you who don't know, monk basically has something called forms, which they can only use these 4 attacks in their right form. These 2 can only be used in router form, and these can only be used in choral form. If you use these 2, you also get put into opal form, which increases, or which basically just boosts these 2. And the way you're basically supposed to be using these are, the first 2 here are supposed to be used every other attack. You're basically supposed to switch these after each time you've used them. So if you basically do a full combo through and you get to basically the end and you have to start it over again, you're supposed to switch which one you use. It's the same case with these 2, but these 2 you have to like do it so that you use demolish, for example, and then you have to wait 2 rotations and then you use demolish again for some reason. So it basically ends up being like 2, 2, 3 rotation is in terms of what I've heard it be described as, and I just kind of fuck it up. Did I mean to change my title? Oh yeah, forgot about that. Completely forgot about that part. Thank you for reminding me of that. Oh, and I should probably quickly make that so I don't show any of that stuff accidentally. Let's see here. Change category over to Fantasy XIV. There we go. It's updated. Oh, I should probably also add a quick additional tag here. There you go. Just play through, because I've never played the Shadowbringers stuff yet. There we go. Alright. So, yeah. Essentially, my main problem with Monk is just that I can't figure out their, like, main single target rotation. Which is why I don't like them. I just can't figure them out that well. Also, I don't understand why this is the case, but for some reason, whoever decided to select when monks get their AoE rotations, I think might have messed up some of the numbers, because for some reason you basically get your first part of the AoE rotation at level 26, the second part at 45, and the last part at 30. I don't know why they've done it in this order, but you basically get like the first and last part before you get this like middle part. That doesn't make any sense to me. That basically means that if you want to do your AoE rotation like before level 45, or like from level 30 to 45, you basically need to go like Armor of the Destroyer, then either Twin Snakes or True Strike, and then Rockbreaker, which is like, why? That doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why you would do that? Doesn't make sense. So in my opinion, Monk is just a weird ass job. It's like in that way. Let's see. Next up is Dragoon, which I actually like a lot, because it has a, first of all, just simple rotation. You have this rotation, and then there's also like True Strike or True Thrust into Disembowel into Chaos Thrust. It's simple. It's just 2 split combos. You have an AoE. You have your 3 jumps, which are nice, and you also have some buffs that you can throw out, like, or use on yourself, just Lance Charge and Life Surge. Overall, I think it's a good job at level 50. It doesn't have like a weird combo, or, as we're going to get into in a little bit, weird buffs to maintain, or at least weird ways of maintaining buffs at level 50. But yeah, overall, I love, yes, Dragoon at level 50. Next up is Ninja, which is actually my main class, or job that I play. That's just okay at level 50. Because, yeah, that's the thing with the buff I was talking about. At level 50, Ninja needs to constantly apply their futon buffs, which is their like weapon skill buff that you're supposed to have up constantly. You need to apply that by using the actual ninjutsu every time, which is this one. You need to do that like every like 55 seconds ish, which is a bit annoying because you basically just spend one of your jutsus that you could be using on dealing damage on basically reapplying a buff, which is annoying because I believe every single other like class just has like their buffs that they get from like normal attacking skills, you just refresh that by just doing the combo again. Whereas here it's like, that's a Rhydon you could have fired off instead of a Futon. You could just refresh it in a different way, because Rhydon is like 650 potency. That's a lot of damage that you're just like, yeah, I can't do that because I need to use Futon. Thankfully they did fix that like 4 levels later with the Armor Crush, which can refresh it, and I guess at level 60, which just straight up gives you Futon while dealing damage. Ninja gets so much better after like level 50, but holy shit. It like, the main thing that just like bumps it down for me at level 50 is just the fact that its main buff is absolutely ass at that level, because you need to like spend your like jutsu, like one of your 2 jutsus that you can cast like every 20 seconds on basically refreshing the buff. I don't like that. Let's see, next up is Samurai, which I personally think is good. It's good at level 50. It's also the level that it starts at, but it has like a little bit more complex, but not by a whole lot, like combo. Strong attack, doesn't have a whole lot of buffs that I can fire off, I guess, other than Meiko Jisui. And it has like AoE. That's basically it. It's not very complicated, because it also has like Third Eye, but you don't really use that. So yeah, it's a simple job. It does what it needs to do. Doesn't have really any downsides, but it doesn't really have anything special about it at level 50. So kind of boring, but it's not like bad boring. So it's good. Not great, but just good. Bard, I actually also think is good. At level 50. Because it honestly has a lot of things you can do, like with the songs, your buffs that you can throw out. You even have like a party-wide buff. You have both of your dots. Have basically most of your, or it's a decent amount of your kit. All it really does like later on is just add more things, upgrade some of your like spells and such. Yeah, in general I think Bard is a pretty good job. Doesn't really have any downsides. Like the dots last for a long time, so you don't need to like sit and constantly apply them. They, especially in Endwalker, fix the whole thing with like the songs relying on the buffs in order for the ticks to happen, because I would say before Endwalker, Bard I did not like, because it was like, it is heavily proc based. Like with the songs, and I did not like that. But here they just changed it to like, oh, when you use the songs, it doesn't rely on anything, and it just has an 80% chance, like every 3 seconds, to basically just pop a repertoire, which just does a different effect depending on the song, which I think is good. Don't make it relied on like debuffs and have a like way lower chance of actually proccing, because that was really annoying. So yeah, that's a good job in my opinion. Machinist, I think it's okay. Let's see, where was Machinist? There it is. In general, I think it's just, I think it's partially due to the fact that I don't really know how to play Machinist that well, but I feel like it has, I can't really figure out its combo necessarily, because it's like, it has its main combo, then it has like a special mode you can go into where you can use this attack. This attack basically reduces the recast of Gauss round, And Ricochet. So you basically, like, when you pop this, you basically just spam that attack. And then every single time that goes on cooldown, you basically just try and fire off all of these two you can shoot. It's a bit weird, and I keep forgetting about Hotshot at the same time. It has a robot, which you can activate. And you also have a ability that you should not use, as far as I understand. Because that ability is going to get used no matter what, once the timer runs out on the robot. You also have this wildfire thing, which you can activate prematurely to deal damage. But that also happens when the timer expires. So I don't see why you would use that. Yeah. I guess the only times where I can see these two being used is like if the timer would not do anything and you can just like pop wildfire thing, like detonate it, or use Rook Overdrive, because hey, that amount of damage would kill the enemy, but I don't. It's not a bad job, but it's not my necessarily favorite one. Let's see, Black Mage. I originally actually on this picture of the tier list that I had made like a few days ago, I had actually put it down in I don't dislike it, but I think I'm actually gonna go ahead and put it up in it's okay, because I have played it a little bit more, and I'll basically say that when it comes to Black Mage, single target I like it. AoE I don't really like it at 50, because I feel like its AoE is the thing that messes me up the most, because it's kind of a little bit weird, because like you have Laser 2 and you have Fire 2. Those are your main things. Then you have Freeze. That ability is apparently fucking useless, because you never get to use it, really. And then you have Flare, which I still don't fully get how you're supposed to use it. Or at least I don't really use it that effectively most of the time. Like the single target I can actually figure out, because it's just use Fire 3, spam fire. If you get any of the procs from that, from Firestarter, you fire off at Fire 3. You keep Thunder up. If you get any Thundercloud procs, you use Thunder 3. And then when you run out of mana, switch over to Blizzard 3, fire one of those off, maybe refresh Thunder if it's run off, maybe fire off one Blizzard, and then it's Fire 3 and repeat. Apparently it's supposed to get, I guess, better at later levels, but that's, from what I understand, the problem with Black Mage. It keeps changing every like 10 levels, and that's the problem with it, because like earlier levels with like Black Mage, like before a certain level at like level 50 or something, I think it's like, I guess it's like level 35 is where the single target actually gets decent, because then you get these two, which allows you to switch between Umbral Ice 3 and Astral Fire 3, which helps a whole lot, because then you don't need to rely on Transpose. It's a whole thing, basically, just that, I don't know, early levels with Black Mage is not fun. Let's see. Then we have Summoner, which I actually really love playing as, because it's honestly really simple, and it's actually don't have like a whole like specifically set rotation per se. You do kind of to an extent, but it's basically just you start combat, you pop your Dreadworm Trance, which is actually not the right one, but I guess it's Aether Charge at level 50. You spam Ruin. Once Ruin is up, and I guess also you spam your Energy Drain and either Pain Flare or Fester. But once your Aether Charge is done going, and you have basically the Arcanums for Ruby, Topaz, and Emerald. You just start using those to like do your summons, fire off some gem shines or precious brilliance. And it's pretty simple. It's not a very complex thing to do. And it's, yeah, you don't have like a set pattern with like, you need to use Ifrit first, and then you need to use Garuda next, and so on and so forth. It's just kind of, you just use whichever one fits with what's happening. And then personally, me, I like to use Ifrit, cast the Ifrit spell, and then Swift cast that one, and then just switch, because you only get 2 casts with the Ifrit summon. It's a simple job in general, so I like it at level 50. And from what I've seen, it just gets better at higher levels, in fact. Also, it doesn't have a like shit ton of abilities. It's probably one of the classes with the fewest abilities, so it's like most of the things it's just like, oh yeah, it just gets, one of the buttons just gets upgraded or changes after you've used it once or something like that. So just in general like it. And then we have Red Mage last, which is just in the OK, because yeah, it's not bad per se, but it does have a little bit with like procs that I find a little bit annoying. Just the whole like casting your arrow or thunder has a chance of proccing either a fire ready or a stone ready, which allows you to cast these two, and then you're supposed to hopefully get a like cycle where it's like you start out with Jolt, cast one of these two depending on your mana or whichever one you just feel like doing if you don't have any mana, or if it's equal, cast one of these two, hopefully get the proc, for example from her arrow, get her stone, then cast for a stone, and then you will cast it, I think it's called, into her thunder, hopefully get the proc so you can cast for fire, so you can cast for arrows, hopefully get a proc so you can cast for stone, and just repeat that with occasional like fletch in between until you get 50 mana, and then you just 1 through 3, you fire off some engagement, some cops, and that's basically it. I guess you do also have like acceleration, which can help you start out your like overly combo with these 4 spells, but that's about it. Yeah, that's basically my current tier list for the classes in Final Fantasy, I guess. I like most of the classes, and there's only really 2 that I don't like that much, and only really like, I can kind of play Scholar, but I would prefer some of the others, to be honest. And I just don't get Monk. What did I play first? I started out as a White Mage, or technically Conjurer. And then at some point in, I don't actually remember when I switched, but at some point around the end of A Realm Reborn, I ended up switching over to Ninja, because I kind of want to play a DPS, because I felt like a lot of the combat that I need to do for like quests were pretty slow. Is the White Mage a healer? It is. It is the first healer that you can play as. So, yeah. White Mage is the first healer that you can play in the game. And honestly, I don't mind playing healer. But I kind of found it a little bit boring in a way. I want to play a Scholar, just like the book. Yeah, like I will say, there are probably. I'm not gonna say that my tier list is like the absolute definitive, correct opinions because they're not. There are probably people that if they saw this list would be like, yeah, no, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but I there's just something in my opinion about like Scholar that I don't like. It's mostly just the fairy, but I can definitely see it being good. I do think I would prefer playing Sage though instead, as in terms of like shield healers, but it basically every single class is like good. There's none of them that are like specifically bad or anything. It's like that's one nice thing about Final Fantasy XIV. Every class is pretty much just like balanced. There's no like essentially terrible class play during a certain tier or match. I mean, unless you like specifically look at like potential damage output, in which case, sure, there are certain classes that like have like straight up higher or at least slightly higher damage outputs, but it's not really highly noticeable. Plus, it's mostly just like if you're able to play certain classes at like the absolutely highest level. Like, if I remember correctly, Dark Knight has like the highest DPS of the tanks, but yeah, it's apparently not the best of the tanks because it can't really tank as well as the others due to their abilities or something. Like every single class has basically their upsides and downsides. It's basically just a matter of like figuring out which one you like the most. In my case, I just ended up kind of sticking with the ninja. Although I kind of have to like probably switch class at some point during Shadowbringers because I'm like almost around like a little bit above 2 levels away from hitting max levels, so I kind of need to find a different job to play in Shadowbringers and Endwalker probably, so I don't end up wasting XP. So yeah. It's hard to do stuff that's outside of the triangle of healer, DPS, tank. Yeah, there aren't really any that like do anything that other than that. I mean, I guess technically, there are some DPS that focus slightly less on like dealing damage and more on slightly support. As long as the stuff does damage, it's usually good. Yeah, I mean, there's a video made by a person called JoeCat on YouTube. He is a very good content creator, I would say. He has basically done the so-called crab guide to Monster Hunter, D&D, and now Final Fantasy as well. He is still doing some of the Final Fantasy stuff. He basically did it on like DPS, where he basically didn't go over like the DPS classes, but more like, hey, yeah, every single class in Final Fantasy is like gonna have to do DPS. Like if you're playing healer, you're not essentially a like healer, you're a green DPS, as they're referred to. Played some MMOs then have support that are more of a support. Jack of all, master of none role, but they usually end up a little question takes. Yeah, I mean in terms of like Bard, for example, they can do damage, but their damage output is usually slightly like it's gonna be lower than, for example, Ninja in most of the cases, because most of Bard's attacks don't necessarily do a ton of damage, but they have a lot of nice buffs. For example, all of their songs provide a buff to the entire party. So that is pretty good. For example, Mage's Ballad makes it so that all party members do 1% more damage. For like, what? How long is it? 45 seconds. Army's Peon makes it so that everyone has a 3% direct hit for 45 seconds. And the Wanderer's Minuet has a 2% critical hit up on everyone. Like small bonuses, but it's still, due to how the songs work, you basically just constantly have like a buff up on like from bards. Dancer kind of works the same way, with them being able to buff one specific player with their dance partners. That is not the right one, that is it? Oh yeah, it is that. Basically close position, where you can like buff them with things like standard step when you use that. Like, I think it's usually, or mostly, just bard and dancer that can kind of be seen as like support DPS in a way. But yeah, every single class is basically just viable. And yeah, as I said before, every single class is just supposed to deal damage. Like, it's kind of a joke in the community. It's just like, it's not tanks and healers, it's green and blue DPS. Because they're supposed to also deal damage. Like, essentially, like, if you're playing a white mage, if no one needs any healing, like, if everyone is like pretty well topped off and the tank is not like about to die, you're just spamming your like single target. I don't know how to play a game outside of dungeons if you don't deal any damage. I mean, they can still deal damage, they just don't necessarily deal as much damage, like, in terms of burst. Like, for example, an advantage that bards and dancers have is that they're both physical ranged, which means that they can move while attacking. So they can basically just kite enemies, and I think they both have... That's an ability. Yep, they both have, for example, leg race, which makes enemies like slower for 10 seconds. Like, they still have things that they can do in order to like deal damage and so on. They just have, in terms of straight up attacks, they don't necessarily deal as much damage always. They do have like some powerful attacks, like we look at, for example, Bard here. They have an attack here that deals can't really see that because of the occasionally censoring, but 600 damage, for example, or 600 potency, 360 there. What else is there? That one can do up to 500 potency. 220. They have some attacks that deal like a decent amount of damage, but if you then compare it to, for example, Ninja, and you scroll down to this one, they have an ability that they can use like every minute that deals 1300 potency, and most of their combos deal like more than bards usually do. But at the same time, Ninja doesn't provide as much help to the rest of the party, except for like one thing, and that is Mug, which increases the damage and target takes from by like 5% for 20 seconds. Well, that's a 2-minute cooldown. Like, Ninja deals more damage than Bard, but they don't provide nearly as much like support to the rest of the party as Bard does. And there's also like straight up just classes that don't provide any help. Like, I believe Reaper doesn't have any thing that like boosts the rest of the party. They are just purely focused on dealing as much damage as possible. So yeah, I think that's also the same case with like Black Mage. They also have no real utility for the rest of the party. It's just some classes just provide some extra stuff. You can make a I seduce the dragon jokes as ninja. Yeah, that doesn't really fit there. I guess you could maybe do it as standard due to their like usual outfits. Could work maybe for seducing a dragon. I mean, you could also just go straight up to Dragoon and just be like, oh no, I'm not gonna seduce the dragon. I'm gonna like fucking destroy the dragon. Like they're specifically made to like kill dragons after all. Anyway, we're finally done with that tier list thing, so I guess we can actually get started on some of the things that I wanted to do. And sold something. Okay, let me try and remember what were all the things that I wanted to do in terms of like the weekly stuff and such. Let's see. Okay, so first Isleshire, because I have some things to deliver in terms of custom deliveries. And let's see, then we need to go to... I guess the Doman Enclave and sell some stuff there, watch some cutscenes. Then go to Tamamisu, deliver some more custom delivery things. And then we need to go to Gugana really quick, because I wanted to go through Eureka Pagos, because I have reached level 35 there, which means I can do all of the quests there. So I'm thinking of unlocking Pyros really quick, maybe just so I can start leveling through that. And then I think that was when I could then start on Shadowbringers, I believe. Let's do that and...
Welcome, Shauna. Welcome. This hall has
Yeah, I have basically a text-to-speech thing here, just because there's a lot of dialogue that isn't read aloud, and I had a time where, like, I was reading the things on my own, and it fucking destroyed my voice. There's so much dialogue, so I just decided, yeah, I don't want to do that. I forgot I need to be a hand.
Now then.
I forgot to listen to the dialogue there. It doesn't matter, I can just do it again.
A marvelous fragrance. The produce of this land is ideal for brewing a fine spirit, one that shan't punish revelers the morrow after. Such a beverage is certain to win over our patrons. Now then, let me examine it by the light. By Azim, the quality is transcendent. The manifestation of an ideal I did not think existed. You, my friend, are a miracle worker.
Okay, so I can just skip the dialogue now. The freaking TJS, yeah. It's kind of a weird thing. Like, it has... We've had some experiences with this text-to-speech where it doesn't fully know how to pronounce certain words. For example, the word worm, or Byron, and sylph. Those two words it has no idea how to pronounce. So what it does instead is that it basically just spells out the word. But the weird thing is, it was able to pronounce Sylphic at one point. I don't know why it wasn't able to like pronounce those words, but it just wasn't able to. I think there's also... I basically have like set up so there's a male voice for all of the characters that are male or are where the text-to-speech doesn't know what their actual gender is. It basically just it's a male voice, and then there's a female voice for all of the female characters. Although at some point, I think there's been like one character where it didn't use the female voice, even though I'm pretty sure it was a female character. Could be wrong. Oh well. But yeah, one of those voices just does not know how to pronounce one of the characters in the game, which I believe is Sid. So it just like spells out the name as well.
Now.
84. And I would run out of those, so that means I need to quickly go and spend those white scripts. Which is gonna help me. I'm just gonna buy something that is gonna be useful for when I finally get started on the Heavensward Relic. Is crafter scripts. Those. And bang and deliver that last thing.
Welcome. Now then. Thanks to you, our very own house spirit is now ready to be served. I must confess to feeling somewhat nervous, as if I were sending my child into his first battle. Not that I have any children, of course.
Then we get a cutscene.
Glad tidings, my friend, our house spirit is enjoying unprecedented popularity. Mapapo is beside herself with joy. At long last, we made it. Gods, please let him be here. He will be. He must, after all that we've been through. Algu. Teleboj. What are you two doing here? That voice. It could only be. Chief. It's you. It's really you. Shauna, I believe you can be trusted with my secret.
Yeah, this guy is basically an aura from the Asm Step. That I apparently was supposed to be the leader of his tribe, but he decided to just like leave because I guess he didn't want to be. Something like that.
Be not astonished, but the chief was once poised to become Khan. Not just any Khan, mind you, but that of the largest tribe on all the steppe, the Adarkim. But with great standing comes great risk, and after 8 assassination attempts and 4 sham marriages, he abruptly disappeared with nary a word. We too are sworn to serve the chief till death. Thus did we set out in search of him. First we scoured the length and breadth of the steppe, but when we failed to find him there, we decided to venture farther afield. And after a grueling journey during which we were runaways, stowaways, and castaways, in turn, we finally arrived here. How can this be? How can you learn the truth of my illustrious identity and not be surprised? Impressed?
Don't pry into people's past. I met your brother on the step. We actually did that. We need to do a quest for him before we could start this like quest line, I guess.
You met my brother? And he's searching for me, you say? That is, not wholly unexpected. Now, you two, how did you know to find me here? Well, Chief, many adventurers come through Reunion these days. Through them, we heard tell of a tavern far to the west. Imagine our surprise when we learned that the proprietor was a man named Adgarak. Ugh, that my whereabouts should be exposed in such a manner. Well, 'tis unlikely that any would-be assassins would follow me all this way. We did have one doubt, however. If you'd go so far as to conceal your face, why in the world would you go by your true name? But lo and behold, it really was you. We're quite baffled, to be honest. Ahem. Such trifling details aside, you must not tell the others of this. It would not do to cause unnecessary concern.
That's right. Oh.
Adgarak is delighted with your efforts. He now considers you a supporter of the hard place. And yet there is still much work to be done if the hard place is to not only survive, but thrive as well. To that end, Adgarak has a new favor to ask of you. For as long as we can remember, the chief has always hidden his true identity to others. It's unheard of for him to trust an outsider. Shauna has earned my trust thrice over. It is by virtue of her help that this tavern still exists, and if you two mean to remain here, then I expect you to make a contribution as well. Well then, Chief, I have an idea. A new type of buas invented by the mole has been popular of late. With your permission, we'll return to the step to learn the secrets of its making. Ah, yes, the one with the new filling. While we're there, we can gather the ingredients as well so we can make it here. Oh, and worry not, Chief, we'll take care not to be seen by our tribesmen. While the idea is sound, I have my doubts about their ability to carry it out. I would feel much more at ease if you were to assist them. Dependable as always. We are so close to becoming profitable again, let us not lose our momentum. Go forth, my friend, and bring us the ingredients for making this new buas.
Okay.
The custom deliveries list for Adkar.
Yeah, that is updated, and that is just the message for like.
I would.
That's just
You have
cutscene
delivered
about,
the
like,
weekly.
hey, you've delivered all the things you can deliver, so don't need to listen to that one. Okay, so it was Stoneman Enclave. Let me just switch over to Ninja. Because we need to sell some stuff, so we can basically make more progress with that thing. And we probably need to like watch 2, maybe 3 cutscenes as well. And thankfully we get a 200% bonus now to it, so we just need to sell 20 of those and we reach the weekly budget.
On behalf of the Shizenkai, Shauna, I thank you for your support. Although construction of the school is proceeding quicker than expected, it is still little more than a place for the students to gather. Nonetheless, Minajiki has already started tutoring there. The sheer enthusiasm on the faces of the children is a sight to behold. I am sure that Minajiki will not mind if you call in to observe one of the lessons.
Okay. And where is the schoolhouse? That is all the way down there in the bottom left. Couldn't see them before we continue with the cutscenes. There's actually been some progress here. Nice. At least they have some roof.
Oh, this is a welcome surprise. So, what do you think of our school? With a roof and sturdy walls, we can study without worrying about the weather. On the other hand, the bookshelves are looking rather empty. I have my own copies of most of the texts, but listening to me reading them aloud does nothing for the children's literacy. Luckily, for today's lesson on Risai, we have all the books we need. Are you familiar with this pivotal figure?
Really? Then why don't you join our lesson?
Never pass up an opportunity to learn, that's what Miss Minajiki always says. Would you like to take a seat?
Maybe we could have a lesson, apparently. Silly.
Risai was a renowned samurai who once served Doma. Not only was he a loyal and gifted swordsman, he was also a master tactician and well versed in the use of firearms. Above all else, however, he was a learned man, and spent much of his time reading. When his days as his lord's vassal came to an end, he established a school that became known as Risai Juku. Unlike most others at the time, it was not only for the children of samurai or those of high social standing, but for everyone. Rich or poor, all were accepted as students. The school held a special place in our community and remained open after his death, with some of his former pupils becoming tutors themselves. So that's where our school got its name. Ah. Miss Minajiki was one of his students. Yes, I was. I spent many happy years at the Risai-juku, first as a pupil and later as a teacher. But all that came to an end when the Garleans invaded. They closed the school and sought to undo all the good it had done. Even so, some of the older generation, such as myself, continued to teach Doman values in secret. The lessons we used to have together were one such example. But now that the empire is gone, we can teach as we please, without fear of reprisal. That is why I decided to reopen Risai-juku. The decades of oppression could not crush the Doman spirit. Much like the Shaizenso, we survive even under the harshest conditions. When they cut us down, we sprout anew, because our roots are strong.
We'll never give in to those dogs. Doma forever.
My sentiments exactly. Now, who would like to read the next chapter to the class?
Me. Me. Lessons are being held at Risai-juku, and the students are eager to learn more of Doma's history and traditions. As you continue to contribute to the Shaizenkai and the reconstruction effort, in what other ways might the Doman Enclave grow and change? Furthermore, as a result of the Enclave's expansion, the rate of gratuities paid for donations has increased, as well as the weekly budget.
Ooh. Nice. That means I can spend more money here. Sell more things. That if I open up, I can sell it for 5,000 more. Nice. Anything that I can sell for 5,000 though. Guess maybe 5 of these. Do it. Although I need to watch the cutscenes first.
On behalf of the Shaizenkai, Shauna, I thank you for your support. Your contributions have led to truly remarkable improvements at Risai-juku. Of course, seeing is believing, as the saying goes. Minajiki would like nothing more than to show you the improvements to the school.
Okay, down there again. Okay, they have gotten some new walls, better blackboard, books. A lot nicer. And better desks.
Ah, the savior of Risai-juku. I expect you have come to see what we have done with the school. The building is a lot more grand, as you can plainly see, we have a lot more books to use in our lessons. I was also delighted to find that the children had taken it upon themselves to gather everything they need to practice calligraphy.
Tsurunoki gave us some soot to make ink. I had to wash my hands about 3 times to get them clean again, but it was lots of fun. We can show you how it's done, if you like.
We got some paper from Araragi, too. And best of all, he gave it to us for free. He said it had fallen just short of perfection or something. Good enough for us to practice with, though. He gave me a pinwheel, as well.
What? Why didn't I get one?
Paper, yep.
They've always been energetic, but they've become so outgoing and independent during their time in Mortona.
Basically, the guy that they got paper from is another guy that basically got helped with us essentially selling things to them. They basically got a, like, I think it was like woodworking, smith, and paper production areas set up. So, yeah. They are basically producing like paper here, and it's apparently supposed to be like some of the best paper like around, something like that. But yeah.
They have been through so much, at such a young age, which often forces children to grow up quickly. But it is more than that, I feel. I think that all that hardship has taught them to appreciate the good times. Perhaps they have come to truly understand the joy that freedom can bring. It is a delight to see the smiles on their faces. Many others around the enclave feel the same way. It fills us with hope for better days to come. Actually, I thought this might be a good time to mention that the children have been planning something special for the school. They have been trying to keep it a secret from me, so I shall have to remember to act surprised when it is finally unveiled. If my guess is correct, I have a feeling that you will want to see it too.
Hey.
Risaijoku has undergone a remarkable transformation, and its students are more motivated than ever. As you continue to
Let's just repeat. Message that always appears. Head back and either donate some more or get another cutscene. I believe this is the paper production area that they have. There's a Ruggy. His name's pronounced. Yeah, paper production. And they have like lanterns and pinwheels. They're being produced. Cutscene.
On behalf of the Shizenkai, Shauna, I thank you for your support. I am pleased to inform you that we have made great strides in our efforts to rebuild the enclave.
Again, it's just one of the cutscenes where we are shown things that have changed. Okay, the children have an outdoor area now. A playground of sorts. Nice.
Owing to your many contributions, Risaijuku has seen further development. As you continue to contribute to
and I can donate a little bit more. That is, so the pieces there. 5,000.
As ever, you are too kind. Your donation has brought us to the limit.
the Shizenkai's weekly budget will be
Though it
the Shi
Can't donate anymore. Nice. At least now the budget is up to 25,000. Okay, then it's off to Tamamisu. Let's change to Carpenter and filler stuff to, what is her name again? Ah, there she is. For night.
Smiles are beginning to appear on the people's faces, and it is in no small part due to you, my friend.
There's some anti-shark harpoons.
Yes, impressively sturdy yet suitably light. A harpoon such as this should serve us well against sharks and help to keep our waters safe. Now then, if I may take a closer look. By the kami, not even the sun-illuminated splendor of the ocean could compare to its brilliance. Yours is the work of the divine, my friend. Now then.
Still her hole though.
Now then. And with this.
Wasn't supposed to skip that dialogue, but oh well. Story progress.
As anticipated, our guards were very pleased with their new harpoons. What I did not anticipate, however, was that our youths would also take a shine to them. They were quite fascinated by its foreign construction.
And this is a source of delight for you, Hiswai? Placing one's trust in land dwellers. I cannot think of a greater folly. It will not do for the sentiment to spread.
Lord Jikin. And Lord Chiosai besides. To what do I owe the honor?
It has come to my attention that our citizens are being led astray. Seduced first by outsider medicines, and now outsider weapons. I labor to comprehend how the princess could permit this. 'Tis bad enough that the guards have taken up these harpoons, now our youths desire them too. Mark my words, this can end in naught but bloodshed. Lest we forget, both the Confederacy and the Kojin were dragged into Doma's bloody conflict against the Empire. Should their leader, this Lord Hein, learn that our people are arming themselves, in his insatiable thirst for war, he may well come banging on our gates to demand our participation. Surely you see the danger. With respect, my lord, may I remind you that this is not the palace. There are eyes and ears all around us, foreign eyes and ears. I would remind you also of the agreement, that you and your fellow elders would watch how the citizens respond to Her Grace's plan. As impartial observers. Your words can ill be described as impartial.
We have naught to gain by cowering inside our little bubble. Nay, by shutting out the rest of the world in the name of tradition, we but consign ourselves to a slow demise.
You presume to lecture me, Hiswai. You who know little and less of worldly matters, whose sole purpose is to attend Her Grace. For a moment, though, I thought the princess herself was addressing me. You have ever shared her looks, but it seems you have taken on her mannerisms as well.
Why yes, it must be all the years serving Her Grace. I have, come to know her mind as though it were my own.
Well, I suppose this is but a fleeting infatuation with the novel and new. Given time, the people will remember the dangers that lurk without and come to their senses.
Now, there's a man you can love to hate. I take it he's the conservative-in-chief? You might say that. And yet, independent of his influence, many others harbor the self-same fear. The fear that, by throwing open Suino Sato's gates, we would be swallowed up in a maelstrom of foreign agenda. When a simple bloody harpoon can trigger such a fearful reaction. Your people really have no stomach for conflict. Well, no one with any sense would, but this is just unhealthy. Indeed. 'Tis an irrational fear, ingrained over generations and perpetuated by willful ignorance. If we are to free ourselves from it, we must have the chance to know the world above.
Add to the part, work stuff, shed your stuff around, so hopefully simpler drops by. Alright. Thanks, Vesper. And good luck with the work. And hopefully I'll see you around. Okay. Action up.
Kurane is delighted with your efforts. She now considers you a stalwart of Suino Sato's emergence. And yet there is still much work to be done if the people of Suino Sato are to shed their apprehensions towards the outside world. To that end, Kurane has a new favor to ask of you.
So, what do we need to make now?
Your Grace, if I may, there is a particular item that I would request of Mistress Shana.
But of course, Shiosai. None among us is more familiar with our people's daily lives than you. What is it that ails them?
As your Grace knows, we dwell at the bottom of the sea by virtue of the Kojin's enchantments. Yet though we have air to breathe and live, our home has ever been a bitterly cold place. Due to our closed environment, we cannot avail ourselves of the benefits of fire. And so we have had to endure, covering ourselves in such garments as we possess. While this may suffice for the young and healthy, the old and infirm struggle simply to survive.
Indeed, the cold has ever been a trial for us. Yet I have heard of a place above far colder still, a land of endless winter where ice falls instead of rain. There, a great nation thrives, and its people must have effective ways of coping in that frozen clime, such as garbs of transcendent warmth.
Guessing it's Ishgard she's referring to, maybe?
That's got to be Coerthas, I reckon. I've never been that far out of Ul'dah, at least not till now, but you've definitely been there, right, Shauna?
A more dependable adventurer I have never known. I shall let you all return to your work, then. By your leave.
So I'm guessing we need to craft Ishgardian garments or something like that.
Permit me to echo Giosai's sentiment. Truly, we are blessed to have a dependable ally such as you. I shall look forward to seeing the fruits of your labors.
The custom deliveries list.
Delivery list has been updated. And this is just the...
You have delivered the weekly
map. Everything. No, don't need so much of that. So, what is it I actually need to make for both of them? Cotton, cold weather gear. Okay. And he wants signature Musk cookware. I think that's how it's pronounced. I'm not entirely sure. Well, I'm at it. Actually, I should wait with that. Alright. Sort that. Switch over to Ninja and then hit to Gugana. We can get into Eureka Pagos. The up a page where there's some information on the quest in Pagos, because it doesn't help like with the coordinates, and I honestly just don't feel like trying to figure out where I need to go based on like, oh yeah, go in like in a northeastern direction, because like that area is fucking huge, and I don't feel like trying to figure out where to go on my own. So, Eureka Pagos. There. Oh, apparently this is also supposed to unlock some, I think, maybe faster movements. I'm not entirely sure. Between places, I could be completely wrong though, but I guess we'll see. So.
Welcome back. I presume you found our confluence. Our readings indicate that you did, or did someone else beat you to it? A depleted ethereal stream, and in that scarred earth another magi site. Then it was not obstructing the flow, but rather absorbing it until the stream ran dry? But that doesn't. If I may, Shauna, I would like to take a closer look at that magi site. At a glance, it seems somewhat different, somewhat lacking compared to those you found before. I will need time to study this to determine if my suspicions are correct. Until then, I must ask you to be patient.
You may continue the Eureka expedition upon reaching elemental level 23.
We've already done that.
There you are. I've two matters of import to discuss. First, the magi site you found in the cones. Alas, as I feared, I'm going to need more time to study it. Sorry. If I had another of these, let's call it depleted magi site for now. And I reserve the right to change the name. Anyway, if I had another, it might help speed things along. As to the second matter, we've located another confluence. The readings are nearly identical to the ones we took before, so you can expect to find another depleted magi site. You'll need to scour the Val River belly for this one. Do your best to find it, but don't take any unnecessary risks.
Okay. That one is at 26.7 and 30.7. Let's see. 6.7, 30. So around down there. I'll think about it. Does that map tracker page actually have the nations? Ah, yeah, it actually does. Nice. Alright, so yeah, I basically just need that down there, so that means... Oh. Need to right, that place. Over this direction. Also, I guess while we're traveling, I can go over a few mounts that I've gotten in the meantime. I basically, like, over the last few days, I've gotten the White Lantern and Rose Lantern from, what is that called again? The, nope, that's actually where it needs to be. Ah, there it is. But yeah, I got those from Limitless Blue and Togas Talk Hard, or no, they Hard Extreme. I was able to sold them, and I actually got them on the first kill of both of them that I did. And I've also gotten the Tyrannosaur from Animos chests.
Like the first Magi site you found in Pagos, this one also seems to be incompatible with your Magia board. In all likelihood, it too has been drained of ether.
Alright. That's... But yeah, I think in between... in the time between when I last streamed Final Fantasy, I've also gotten all of my gatherers to 90, so that's nice. And I also got, I think I did this after my last stream, but like I've gotten, maybe I did before, but at least I have like all my crafters at 80 as well. Alright, so back to Ice Point. And trial.
It's always a relief to see you make it back in one piece. You have it, then? The depleted Magi site? Just as before. Compared to other Magi site, it wants for ether, and so exerted less influence on the live stream. And yet... well, I did say another would be a boon to my research. May I? Thank you. I will keep you apprised of any developments.
You may continue the Eureka Expo.
25, okay.
Don't worry, Shauna, you needn't wait any longer for results. Now, you may recall that the Magi site you recently discovered is somewhat lacking in ether, yes? I strongly suspect this is not the result of some natural phenomenon. The earth surrounding the stones was also likely scored when the stones were drained of their essence.
I think the masked man did it.
He's up to something, of that I have no doubt. But unless you can tell me you saw him handling the Magi site, assuming anything beyond that would be baseless speculation at this point. Setting that mystery aside for the moment, I can tell you that we've located another confluence within Pagos. Curiously, this one appears to be more akin to those observed in Anemos. It may well be a Magi site still replete with ether. Our readings place it near the eastern edge. It'll be a trek, but I hope you are ready and willing to head back out there. Oh, and before I forget, Gerald was asking after you. Apparently he's hit upon a few interesting discoveries of his own regarding weapons or some such, and wished to share them with you.
That's gonna unlock something that we need to progress with upgrading our relic weapon. So we'll just quickly do.
and there she is, the woman who's gonna get me off this bleedin' rock, I mean, the woman what deserves a weapon o' phenomenal power as befits her martial prowess. Oi, what's with the reaction? I'm doing ya a favor here. Try and look more enthused at the prospect, why don't ya? That's more like it? So, I made ya a bloody brilliant weapon in anemones, the very best what anyone could craft in that bastard region. Couldn't do better, believe you me. All that wind aspect ether seepin' into every little thing means y'd be foolish to even try. Now, your average Smitty'd throw their hands up in defeat, but Gerald's anything but. I've found a solution to our problem, and an elegant one besides. If the elemental forces in your weapon are out o' balance, all we've got to do is bring 'em back in line. And to do that, we'll need a boatload o' crystals chock full of ether o' various aspects to cancel out all the wind. There ya go again, making that face. Worried about where in the seven hells y'all find that many crystals? Nowhere, ya daft sod, y'all make 'em. Feast your eyes on this beauty, a Eurekan kettle. Take it with ya when ya go about your business in Pagos. Every time ya kill beasties, it'll suck up a portion o' their ether. When the kettle's brimmin' with enough vitiated ether, ya can convert it into a crystalline form, with the aid o' the proper facilities, that is. Where are said facilities, ya ask? That's a damn good question. Hold your chocobos, killer. I honestly don't know. Somewhere in Pagos, though, that much is certain. Kryle's the one what told me her grandfather developed an apparatus for the purpose o' compressin' ether into crystals. Reckoned it should be somewhere near our camp. More and that, she can't say. Enerode, you ought to know this crystal forge when you see it. If it helps, think of it as an adventure. You're still an adventurer, ain't yet? Right, then. I'm countin' on ya to bring back those crystals so we can make ya a better weapon and prove that my method isn't a load o' bollocks. And then the Harridan'll have to give me my due, and I'll be one step closer to freedom.
Challenge continues.
As you defeat enemies in the Forbidden Land, Eureka Pagos, your Eurekan kettle will gradually accumulate vitiated ether. The quantity of ether with which your kettle is currently infused is represented by a gauge during your expedition.
So basically, from what I understand with this gauge will basically just fill up slowly when we kill enemies and when we do like notorious monsters. Specifically, notorious monsters give the most. Enemies, it's a little bit rarer. Basically, this can fill up. Get one crystal yield. We can have up to 9 of these. And where we need to go is then up here to test cavern 1-P. How we get there easily is just teleport up here to the geothermal studies. Make our way down here. This spot. And there's a ledge here that we can drop onto. I think it might actually be over here, but like there's an ledge around here we need to drop off to. We can then run along here. There's a dragon that sleeps over here. Those are really dangerous. You want to walk around them, not run. Basically make it into the cave. There are a bunch of level 35 enemies in here, I believe. Just sneak over to the forge and then you just get the crystals. Okay, so the one that Crown just gave us was like level 25. That means that we need to make our way over here. And I think think it's on the lower part down this area. So we have two ways to get there. We can go here and then run up there. It's longer, but safer because all of the enemies in this area are below level 32. Or we can go up here and then run down here and then just drop down. But the enemies in this area are like level 37. I should, in theory, be able to get around without too much trouble. And of course it's night, so there are the Val corpses around. I want to make sure that I avoid those. But in theory I should be able to just go down this way and avoid most of the enemies. Additionally, as long as I don't get into combat, I should be fine. Okay, all I need to do. And there's one of those dragons down here. Basically, at my speed 2, just walk. Otherwise, when I landed, it would have aggroed it. There it is. What?
No, this will not do. No, no. Not if the righteous are to rise triumphant. Where art thou, O bearer promised? Hand worthy to wield the blade. Just and true.
Vision back in the past, I guess.
By all means, convince me I'm wrong. Tell me there's a way. A bearer just and true, if the accounts are to be believed. How wonderfully subjective. So one with such qualities would be judged worthy and therefore be in no danger? Simple as that? As if anything about this is simple. We already know that prolonged exposure places the bearer's very soul at hazard. By the time the others even realized, the icon had already prevailed. Indeed. Then until we can conceive of a method to completely and utterly starve it of ether, we can but maintain the status quo. Vexing as it is. In so doing we merely pass our problems to the next generation. Sever the streams, seal it away, our every measure can be defeated. All our progress, reversed. Bah! Who would have thought that ether could be so damn hard to manipulate? Sever the streams. Bah, that won't do. Alter. No. Golov's got that look again. Any moment now he'll be saying, I've got it. My friends, victory is not beyond us. There is a simple method by which we may yet reverse our fortunes. To wit, we reverse the flow.
Still don't fully understand what is going on there. 100%. Seems like they're dealing with some sort of creature that is causing trouble and they've been trying to seal it away or something.
The masked man is nowhere to be found. However, you spy a small object near where last you saw him. The object seemingly left behind by the masked man is yet another depleted magi site, identical to the ones you found before.
Okay. We're just going to check something. Quested level 21, 23, then 25. Is there a level 27 quest somewhere? Or how does this go? Let's see. 5. 29. And then 35. Okay. 29 shouldn't be that difficult. 35 is in a very dangerous area though. So let's just cast return. I won't be needing it for a couple of minutes at least. Let's talk to Trial.
There you are. For a moment there, we were all more than a little worried something might have happened. While you were away, we recorded a sharp decrease in ethereal density, until the confluence was more or less identical to those we previously measured. It was almost as though the Magi site was being drained of its ether in that moment. What? The masked man? And another vision of grandfather's past? This is too much to process. Forgive me, I need a moment to gather my thoughts and try to make sense of everything you have told me.
You may continue the Eureka expedition upon reaching elemental level 29.
I really must apologize. I kept you waiting for an age while I tried to make sense of these latest developments. Let us review. Let's start with the masked man. While you didn't actually see him do anything to the Magi site, I think it reasonably safe to assume that he is the one going around draining them of their ether. His objective remains unclear, but given his vague pronouncements and your visions, it has something to do with the entity grandfather and the others imprisoned on the Isle of Val. As for the identity of said entity, I fear that, in light of your most recent account, it is extremely likely that they were discussing a primal. Grandfather spoke of an icon, which, as you may recall from our experiences with the Triad, is what the Allegans called primals. Any distinctions are more or less academic, what matters is the possibility we may have to deal with it. What is equal parts amazing and frustrating is that none of these revelations, fascinating as they are, do anything to explain how the Isle moved from one side of the world to another. For all we have learned, there is still far too much we do not know. I'd very much like to hear Ahika's thoughts on all this, but wouldn't you know it, whenever I actually wish to speak with him, he's nowhere to be found. I hate to ask this of you, but could you go and search for him? Last I heard, he was headed to the Bull's Pen to conduct a survey. If and when you do find him, please share with him everything we have learned. You needn't ask for his opinion, doubtless he will not hesitate to offer it.
Okay, so the location I need to go to is the edge right over here. Specifically at 10.1, 21.4. So right there. I don't know if it's like up on this part of it or if it's down there, but thankfully, as long as I just go over there this way, it should be fine. You know, as long as I just make sure that I avoid enemies, any unnecessary fighting. To be honest, the only thing that I really need to worry about is like those enemies right there. Let's see. Doesn't seem like it's up here that what I'm looking for is located. But yeah, this is where you need to drop down in order to get to the forge thingy. Ah, there he is. Nice.
Well, if it isn't the adventurer. Still running all over trying to find confluences and magi site for Kryl. The vaunted echo yields up more information, does it? Of course it does. How you too must delight in stumbling upon revelations and rubbing it in the faces of us mere mortals. That was rude. I apologize. You've given me no reason to believe you would harbor such motives. I allowed my personal feelings to cloud my judgment. I'll not deny it. I resent you and Kryl for your gift. To we who have toiled and suffered for every scrap to our name, the very idea that another was simply chosen is infuriating. I was born into poverty. What I have achieved, what I have become, all was through mine own effort. I earned my place with Golov and the others. Yet no matter how hard I strive to better myself, I will never be held in the same esteem as the levelers and Kryls of the world. There was a time when the question kept me up at nights. What do they have that I lack? What indispensable, indescribable quality do these esteemed personages possess that sets them apart? This must all seem so very petty to you. Doubtless you will claim that your gift, your echo, is not at all the blessing the rest of us believe it to be.
No, it's pretty much a blessing. It definitely has its drawbacks. Yes, to an extent, I mean, we were kind of semi-forced into doing all of this stuff due to it. At least we were sought out because of it. Plus the whole like, oh hey buddy, here's a vision, is kind of a problem sometimes. Because it's not always useful. It is most of the time, but it can be a bit of a pain. It has its drawbacks.
Uneasy lies the head that wears a crown, et. You'll forgive me if I continue to envy your called burden. But enough about me and my prejudices. You came for my insight, and so you shall have it. You may find it lacking, though. Golov's talk of reversing the flow calls to mind the myriad ethereal currents which crisscross the isle. Therefore an even more detailed study of such might be in order. One particular site comes to mind. Kryl will know of what I speak. I'm afraid that's all I can offer at this time. Rest assured I will be in touch if I learn anything I believe may be of use. And, take care.
Okay. So, back to Kryl. And once we talk to her again, we need to head all the way up to the Bureau. Yeah, that's how it's pronounced. Which, guess what, is in an area with level 40 enemies. This entire area is just covered in level 40 enemies, which is like, great. That's gonna be fun to try and get through. Oh my god, I do not. I'm not looking forward to that. Hopefully I don't end up dying, because in that case I need to like call out to people and be like, hey, can anyone come and rest me? Yeah, I'm supposed to talk there. I'm supposed to talk to Kryl first.
Welcome back, Shauna. Did you find Ahika? He must be speaking of the Proto-Etherite. It dates back millennia, and was created during the initial development of the technology, some surmise. The students mostly used it to monitor fluctuations in the ethereal currents when performing various experiments. If the various phenomena on the island are impacting the flow of the life stream, then a closer examination may provide valuable insight. And although we rarely used it for teleportation, an etherite's an etherite. It may prove useful in restoring the Ethernet and gaining access to our headquarters. It's a plan, then. We will conduct one final survey to confirm whether or not any Magi site remain to be found in Pagos. If not, then we can proceed with our investigation of the Proto-Etherite.
You may continue the Eureka exp.
We've completed our survey, Shauna. No more Magi site to be found. However, there's a new complication. The proto-etherite is located within a cave system in the northeastern highlands. Unfortunately, given the terrain and other hazards, it's simply not feasible to travel there on foot. Which leaves the Ethernet as our only means of access, or would, if everything was working properly. I thought the Magi site were responsible for the disruption, but not this time. Rather, it seems that there has been a pronounced shift in the ethereal currents, possibly as a result of the island being moved halfway around the world. Further adjustments will be necessary if we want to restore the Ethernet to good working order. But before I can even begin to determine what adjustments to make, I need you to help me identify one of the more significant changes, a massive concentration of ether. Given the readings, I wouldn't be surprised if you've observed it already. In any case, it appears to be somewhere near Agaric Rock. As is all too often the case, such high concentrations of ether are like to have warped nearby creatures. Be prepared to deal with extremely aggressive and dangerous beasts.
Okay. So, gravitational studies. Let's head up this way. And hopefully not get into any sort of combat with most of these enemies, because as I said, a lot of these are like level 39 or 40. Should we do that? Trying those this way. Those don't get aggroed unless it is by spells. And those are all like level 40s. There. Okay. I have no idea if this is gonna work. But I can try and see if it will allow me to walk past enemies. It does say that it works on the enemies level like 10 levels higher than my own. Certain enemies, or it has no effect on enemies 10 levels higher, or certain enemies with a special sight. So maybe it doesn't work on these guys. No idea. It's just a giant ass like stream of something.
An endless font of ether appears to be surging forth from beneath the earth.
Oh, so it's ether.
The column extends high into the sky, further than you can see.
Supposed to go to 21.8 and 12.4. That's where I'm currently located. I don't seem to be able to interact with anything else here. Okay, nope, 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 no, 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 no. Okay, hide does not work. Noted. Let me get the fuck out of here. That gave me a bit of a shock there, because I was not expecting that. Okay. I want to get to safety. Please don't turn around. Turn around, please don't turn around. Good. Okay. Okay, we need to go back to Crown then. Oh boy, did not like that. The main problem basically is if I die in any of the Eureka areas, and I will basically just release and spawn back at the base, I lose experience. And I can lose a fuck ton of experience. Which apparently can also de-level me, which I do not want. Especially considering the fact that I spent like 6 hours or something trying to just get like a few levels yesterday, like 5 levels. Took so long, especially the last one.
By your return, I take it you found it. An endless font of ether surging high into the sky. Yes, yes, it all makes sense now. In that case, I think I know what to do. I'll need time to do it, though. Considerable time. We'll also need to ascertain the state of our destination. Right, then. I believe I have nothing more to ask of you at this time. There's little else to be learned from Pagos, and the work ahead is the sort I do best alone. Thank you again.
You have reached the conclusion of this chapter of the Eureka expedition. To continue the expedition, speak with Rodney at Pier Number 1 in Kyogana to travel to the Forbidden Land, Eureka Pyros.
Okay, but just going to do that just so I have the area unlocked. Oh, cutscene.
So Golub and the others were struggling to deal with the primal, were they? I wonder. And how do the depleted Magi side fit into it? Primal, icon, primal, icon. Wait. Golub said icon, not primal. Who goes there?
Fast guy.
Seekest thou power? Power to smite thine enemies, to cast down the wicked and raise up the righteous? The infamous masked man. We meet at last. Now, who are you? Or should I ask, what are you? The blade thou wouldst wield. The magic thou wouldst master. The honor thou wouldst seize. The power and the glory, the purpose, thy purpose. I am Eureka.
What? What? And we got the making the most of Pagos. Okay, so apparently if I get all of the story stuff, I get we can explore. Nice. Okay. I'm gonna quickly head out of here and unlock Pyros so I can start leveling in there.
A fine morning to you, adventurer. If you've not yet deduced from my cheery tone, Mistress Kryle and the others have made great strides in restoring the Ethernet, enabling us to access another region of the island. Pyros, they've taken to calling it, on account of all the fire aspect ether. A new base camp has already been established, so that messy business is over and done with. Of course, they'll need all the help they can get with the expedition. All the help you can provide, that is. Anyway, as soon as you're ready to go, let me know and I'll see you on your way. Mistress Kryle is probably dying to brief you on all her discoveries.
Pyros now accessible.
You now have access to the Forbidden Land, Eureka Pyros. Like Anemos and Pagos, Pyros to embark on your journey. Please be advised that all excursions into the Forbidden
Damn. Same usual stuff. Guessing we get a cutscene, so might as well just pop in, and that can be leveled up to 50. That's 15 more levels I need to get. I'm assuming that there's a cutscene when we enter. Yep, looks like. Power crabs. And there's also an ice area? Ah. We have Prowl there, this entire area, and I am wondering, regarding those few Aether rights. Let's see. There is. What were they exactly? There's one to the southeast of the base camp. Where's that one on this map here? The one all the way to the south east of us is unlocked at level 37. The one that's to the northeast of us is available at 39. And the one to the northwest is available at level 41. At least that's when you can activate them. So, yeah. Anyway, we're not gonna go through this really right now. I'm just gonna, in my off time, that. And, yeah. That's basically all just regarding Animos right now. Or not Animos, Eureka right now. Then there's only one last thing I want to do before we get started on Shadowbringers. It's gonna take a little bit of extra time, and I'm thinking of maybe taking a small break before we actually get started on that. But it's regarding the relic weapon from A Realm Reborn. And the fact that there's a quest that is kind of blocking my progress with basically doing any of the other relic weapons. It's kind of regarding that blue quest we can see up here. But we're gonna talk about a little bit later once I had a small, like, thinking, small 15-minute break. So I guess we'll just park here on background and ambient noise, and I need to remember, is it this thing? Yep. Alright. And I guess just pull up the thing that I used to timers, although I think I can maybe do that with the stream elements, like have the timer show up that way with like a thingy sorts. So right. Let's see here. So let's see, that is around fast, I think. That's end up being 15. That is something. Sure was 4. So yeah, in around 15-ish minutes, I'll basically just be back. Yeah. If you need to use the bathroom or grab anything to, like, grab a snack or anything to eat, will be in no time to do it. So yeah. I'll just be back here in a bit. See you guys in a bit.